Oklahoma's entering year 3 in the SEC. And at this point, the conversation is no longer do they belong, because that question was answered when they made the college football playoff in year 2. You've got John Mateer back at quarterback, Ben Arbuckle with a full season under his belt, calling plays in the SEC, and a championship caliber defense that gives you permission to run the football, even when it's not pretty early on. So here's the real debate. What is the true floor for the Oklahoma Sooners? And what is the real ceiling if the offense does its job? Phone lines are open. It's rise and shine time. Let's get it. Good morning, and welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football's Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Rise and Shine College Football. As a troll, I said no on the poll, but I think it's very possible. Need more to Jason's early prediction compared to the Chris guys, but I still a lot of time before making picks. Welcome in Ben G, Stephen G, Bishop. Who else we got? Seatbelt Mafia. What up, my guy? What up? 47 straight. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? Scott Walker. Bishop's on fire, as usual. All right. Yeah, let's get into this, guys. You know, I got to thinking about that last night. This is kind of what Benji was saying while Chris were making their predictions. No shade against those guys. But I actually kind of went into it wanting to do the predictions more of the, how you would do it. We used to do it on, that's kind of how we did it on Coach Eyes, where it was, if you're a toss-up, that's like a half win, half loss, right? Truth be told, I'd probably be closer to 8-4 if I'm going into it. But here's why. To me, you're looking at a situation that you have a championship defense. That was clear last year, right? Especially once they started turning the ball over, and once those things start happening, they started getting turnovers on the defensive side. Had that offense just been serviceable, and I mean, I'm not talking about Lincoln Riley good. It's just not. That's not what it is. But John Mateer coming back, Ben Arbuckle has a full season under his belt. He's been calling plays. He should know what doesn't work in the league, and that championship defense is in place. Even if my feelings were what I was saying to K. Chris, and he didn't want to hear it, but my feeling was that, look, if you play good offense, even decent offense, I think you can win the whole thing. I don't think there's any two ways around it. I think you can win the whole thing. If you don't, I think you could go it could get to 8-4. I think it could get to 7-5. I think that those one-score games, we've heard no faking, David Kincaid say it, and it, it comes from data. If you win a bunch of one-score games one year, you're probably going to lose a bunch of one-score games the next, if you're still in one-score games. And if we're just assuming, here's my feelings. If you're just assuming that Mateer's going to be better, or it's because he's got his quarterback coach and he's doing that, he's going to be healthy. if you're assuming he's going to be healthy, then I would hope that you're also assuming that you're going to have a running game that is going to pace this team headed into the season and have running backs that are going to do the bulk of the carries, not John Mateer. We saw that that was not the way to keep him healthy last season. If he's running it more than 3, 4, 5 times in a game, I think you're putting too much risk on it to have to go to a guy like either a freshman, true freshman in Bo Bentley, or Whit Neubauer, Jet New, whoever whoever ends up being the backup. I know there's a lot of pointing towards Bo Bentley. I would tell you that that's dangerous too, at best dangerous. But we'll see. Oh, you worried about me being late? I picked Jets because 8 of OU's 12 opponents has new play callers on one side or head coaching changes. OU is returning a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. Okay, this is fair. But again, Stephen G, tell me why they'll be better though. That's what I want to know. And listen, I'm not trying to trash anybody. I want us to have a discussion, a real discussion about it. What is their floor and what is their ceiling? Comanche Sooner, welcome to the show. S4L. I said yes because F you. That's why. Seatbelt Mafia says, who you got as our next DB coach? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. Even Mr. Mason didn't know it yet. He hadn't heard anything from his source. I hadn't heard anything from any of mine. My fear for SEC, going to 9 games, but still a 12-team playoff can hurt the conference getting teams in. I would agree. Now, I think you do have to go back and remember when you say that 47 straight, you got to go back and remember that that strength of schedule metric does matter. It does matter. And I think that's become evident by seeing the Big Ten actually opening up their big teams to each other, right? Oh, it's TOFU loving Texas fan. I can't assume anything about John Mateer. It's like hard to like the guy, in my opinion. Yeah. Yep. Kind of seriously. All right. I'm going to hold on 1 second. I'm dropping the call-in line. I want to hear from you guys. You won't have your face on here, so you don't have to worry about that. Just hop in on the link, and I'll bring you up, and you can tell me what you think. Yeah. Well, I think that there could be a ton of 9-3 teams. You mean in the SEC? I don't know. There could be. There also could be more 8-4 teams and a few 10-2s or whatever, 3 of the 5 starting alignment won't be freshmen. Fasusi, Foji, EPL. Running back depth that won't quit on the team. Quit on the team. You should call in for that. You should call in for that and explain that part to me. Explain. I'll pin that message up there for the link. The link is pinned in the chat as well. We've got 84% of you telling me so far, and that's how many votes is this? 19 votes. 84% of those of you folks are saying yes. A few are saying no. Okay. What up, Bishop? Is John Mateer again? If John is mid-tier again, you could go 6 and 7. Yeah, that quit on the team thing, I'm not sure that I'm buying that. I like this one. I agree. You guys, come on, you call in. Do it as a call in. If you just go on your cell phone, tap that link. All you have to do, you can okay your camera and your microphone. It won't matter. You can turn your camera off on your own if you want to, but I won't. You have you on the camera either way. I'll turn it off myself once you pop up in here. So all you'll get is your voice. You won't be seen up on the screen at all. But call in. Let's talk about it. Okay, I'm gonna shoot one, two, and we're gonna get Cody Light in here to talk about Okie Light a little bit as well. So we'll have him come in, and he's actually pretty high on. He's actually higher on John Mateer than I am. So yeah, I think it is. And guys, it's supposed to be hard. Number one, if it wasn't, everybody do it. Nobody would care. But I think if you're a program like Oklahoma, and I think if you've been and you went through that schedule that they went through last year at 10-2, win games on the road at Tennessee, win games on the road at Alabama, you know, had your opportunities to beat Texas, you didn't do it, but it's because of the offense. Everything that you didn't do was due to the fact that you couldn't put up enough points to get it done and play mistake, run the football. I mean, there were times that just not enough running game. 107th in run game. That's just not good enough. It's just flat out not good enough. So, all right, real quick, let me allow this caller in here. All right, hey, caller, turn off the stream that you're watching, so I don't get. Ready? All right. Let's see. Everyone needs to keep them. No worries. All right, here we go. Welcome in, TP, to the show. What you got for me,
Jason,
man?
Jason,
Talk to me.
listen.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things. First off, number one, February signing day is like null and void, right? But I watched that short because I hadn't seen the footage of this kid they picked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I like him.
Bro, that's a Nagy find. That's right.
Brother, it's a nice little find. I don't know. I think that they've been on him. Yeah, maybe it is. They've definitely, from what I'm understanding, maybe they've been tracking him for a while. And they knew
Okay.
that he wasn't going to be an early entry guy. So I think that it was something that they kind of were looking at it in that way.
And,
So,
and
and I think they kept it quiet for a while too. They didn't want anybody else on him. Now Houston was on him pretty good, I guess, and so was Tech. Um, but
bro, how do you
I've
have
never
10
heard. I've
blocks?
never heard of a guy that had even like 3, 4 of them in a season. Block punts, block kicks of any kind. That's nutty, right?
That's crazy. The funny thing is, see, I'm an old guy. So back in the 70s, the Vikings would go to the Super Bowl and lose, but they always had good
Yeah.
defense and excellent special teams back in the 70s. And they were masters at blocking kicks, field
Yeah.
goal punts, masters at it. And you haven't seen anything like this kid, since that Vikings team in the 70s.
Well,
You know?
just over, and I didn't see them all. I don't think they didn't have them all on his huddle film that I saw. Of course, I was trying to kind of put it together kind of quick, and but I mean, I got like I think I put up what six or seven of them anyway. But he's shot out of a cannon, man. And they got personal protectors. He's blowing right by them, and just I mean, there's an art to it, right? There's an art to it. So I mean, I think it's a damn good. It's a good find because if you have a guy that has anticipation like that and can get back there that quick. I also saw him make some plays from across the field on his huddle film. Catching guys. I don't think his speed, as far as like what's been tracked or anything, or what's been, like a official time or something like that has really popped up. That being said, though, I mean, it's pretty badass, really.
Yes,
It's really
absolutely.
pretty
My
badass.
my my question about him is: do you think he's more of a corner or a safety type? Any idea?
Um, well, at 5'11", I'm telling you, I mean, he could be either, but it feels
Okay.
like he's definitely a hitter. Um, I think we'll. Yeah, that's a good question, man. He's listed as a corner. Um, I don't know that he has enough raw speed, but like I said, I saw him like make up for either. I saw one where he made up for a bad read and made an interception. You know,
Okay.
like he got burned and then he made up the ground and caught it anyway on an out route,
Mm.
quick out route. So it
Right.
wasn't like it was, Now again, we're not talking about SEC quarterback that he was up against in that,
Correct.
that's going to make a better throw, but it's still he has some quickness. He returned a couple of kicks that I saw, um, that he was able to get deep returns, and I saw him make up ground on and like kill an angle for a running back that you wouldn't have
Yeah.
figured that he could do that if he's not pretty fast. Sometimes even if they do have, let's say they run, most of these kids don't know how to run a 40 unless they're track runners, and even then they don't know how to run a 40. The best way to really find out how fast they are is to track them in a game using one of those vests or something,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and because they can tell you how fast you're running, like in miles per hour, and they're you know I would guarantee you his motor runs. But I mean, man, there's more to it than I think football speed and try and that 40 time. They're not always,
Exactly.
they're not
Exactly.
always they don't always matter.
The kid is definitely a smart kid. Definitely.
Yeah.
Simple. If to get into position to make 10 blocks, you have to be a smart kid. You
Oh
understand what I'm
man.
saying?
Yeah,
It
and I
just
mean, yeah, just and have that
instincts.
anticipation, that instinct, and I don't know that you can really coach that, right?
No,
I think that that's
absolutely
something that
not.
kind of comes naturally. That's something that you either kind of do or you just don't, and or
Yeah,
you played a lot of football and it just kind of you start understanding the game, right?
yeah. You either have that or you don't. You know,
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you can't be, a successful player. It's just the people with the high instinct value. They're just the type that just take you over the top, in my judgment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay, so Sooners for Life says the material brought back for his second season in Oklahoma, and the season is a failure. There's going to be a lot of coaches' heads rolling in Norman. I I think that that's the reason that this is kind of brought up. Marcus, didn't I? You guys probably saw that we did the Ole Miss um, kind of preview or profile on the SEC Gauntlet last night. We have one that we recorded for Oklahoma. I actually feel like we may record it again. The conversation was actually, though, it kind of turned to, a lot of people feel like Brent is safe, and I think to some extent he certainly is safe and should be safe, right? You can't discount what he's done with this defense. It's definitely championship level, TP. But
correct.
what the guy is going to be judged on now was what I feel like sometimes he's indifferent to, and it's that offensive side of the ball. If you don't have an improved offense and you haven't mandated the change that everybody knows has to be it, which is to have a true commitment to running the ball, the question keeps coming up: can he survive that? And at how many wins does he survive that if they don't make the playoff?
That's a good question. I think he's safe now. If he goes four
I
and
think he's
eight,
safe right now too. I want to preface all this by saying, at the moment he's safe. That's a relative term to the time of the season we're in, though, too, and the record, right?
correct, correct. I guess my question. is who who would be the person to let Brent go? Is that Nagy? Is that the athletic director? Is it the president? All three? I don't know that part of the situation because athletic
Well,
directors knew.
yeah, listen, I would tell you that none of the three of them hired him, right? Um,
Okay.
they
Okay.
don't, and if you think about that in terms of like just your average athletic director coach relationship of what we know it as, right? That means that
Right.
none of them have to have an allegiance to Brent Venables. Now, I think that they do, right?
Right.
I know that Jim Nagy is they're working closely together. I think they have a good working relationship. I think that Jim Nagy's trying to build the team that he wants to put on the field, right? Um, but he doesn't. I mean, look, if at any time any of those guys, Randall Stevenson, Jim Nagy, the new athletic director, doesn't like him, doesn't feel like he can get it done, they don't have to. I mean, it's not their sin. It
Right.
would
Yeah.
really be more of a sin for them to keep him around longer than they should.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's safe. We started down this line with what you were talking about in the broadcast that you have yet to release, and that part that you said was the assistants. Now, the assistants might not be safe. I don't know. I'm not saying anybody in particular, but when
Sure.
Nagy in a podcast specifically says, "I want to see what these young kids can do at wide receiver," he said
That was
that.
a mandate.
You understand? When
Yeah.
he makes
Yeah.
that kind of statement,
Mhm.
I'm not saying the wide receiver coach is in trouble, but I'm saying you might be, or somebody in that
Well, wait.
vicinity may
I
catch a
would.
stray.
I think it's whoever is not putting the guy in. I think it
Exactly.
falls on Ben Arbuckle. I got to be honest with you. I think that they've given him so much rope and so much reign over that offensive side of the football. I think that even, I mean, you heard Brent talk about when somebody brought up Kevin Wilson, and after Arbuckle had talked about Kevin Wilson, and Brent brought up the fact that uh, Kevin doesn't want to feel like he's stepping on any toes. The fact that he thinks about stepping on toes is a problem to me. It's a problem to me. It's not a huge problem as much as it is. It's an indication, though, that who's running the shit.
Right. Right. I understand that.
And
Understand.
I think that Brent has given him the same amount of leeway that he gave Seth Luttrell, which I thought was a mistake then. I think it's a mistake now. I think that, and I think that Brent is at time, and maybe he's taken on it. I hope that he's turned over a new leaf on this stuff and decided that, hey, we're going to get in the lab together and we're going to talk about what can work. Because as the defensive guru that he is, the guy. I mean, Brent is that guy when it comes to building defenses and stopping people, right?
Right.
He should be able to self scout that offense and be like, look, man, this is so I can tell you right now that I know exactly what you're doing at all times and would without knowing the plays.
Right.
And
Well,
this kind of offense is a lot harder for me to stop than this is. We need to run the football, we need to do XYZ, whatever the case may be, but it better be run heavy. And go back to like what Bob Stoops did when Lincoln Riley got there and they had Samaje and Joe. I mean, it was let be known very quickly after that first couple of games, and he didn't think they'd gotten enough carries. Hey, I don't give a shit what offense you're in. You will run those guys. Find a way.
bro, you just gave me a flashback when you said Samaje and Joe. And
Ooh,
everybody
buddy.
listen, everybody talks about that Texas Tech game, Mahomes and Baker. Go back and pull up the stats of what Joe Mixon did that game.
Uh-huh.
Go back and pull up Joe Mixon's stats that night down there and wherever that school is at Texas Tech. Hey, Joe Mixon was the man. I know they give the two quarterbacks a
Oh,
lot of
Joe Mixon
praise,
was
and,
a
and rightfully
bad
so.
dude, bro.
But
Joe Mixon
but
was a bad dude.
But we need somebody to step up and play like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's play calling or scheme. I don't know any. I'm not that advanced on it. All I know is we need somebody to ball like Joe Mixon used to ball. Simple and plain, and that's something.
Preach that, brother. Preach that.
I guess that's something. Well, see, when you look at those stats, you'll see. I think Joe had over 200 yards rushing
Yeah.
that game. I think.
Which game are you
And
talking about again?
Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield, down in Texas Tech. Mahomes was the quarterback. The score was like 60 something. It was a crazy game. Crazy
Right.
yardage on both sides of the ball. Crazy game. But Mixon had like maybe 4 touchdowns. I can't remember the stats. I don't have my computer in front of me and all of that, but we need an effort like that. We need a player like that to stand up in that
Well,
backfield.
but it's not even just a player like that. You have to listen. Where I was at on this, and I'm gonna bring in Cody for just a few minutes, and we'll get back to this in a second. But what I want to say is that what you have to do, look, it's not just about the type of players. I think they've got players, right? It's not. I don't feel like it's a player problem so much as I think it's a commitment, because I think that there can be, it may take some time for you to see the real fruits of that as far as like production is concerned, yardage, even touchdowns. But if you lean on it and you commit to running the ball, and you're 55-45, that's what you got to do, then that gives you the opportunity that at the end of the game you're able to wear them down. And I think this. I mean, you were just talking about 70s football. I would tell you that Otis Taylor needed to get the ball a hell of a lot more for Kansas City, and didn't, because they ran the damn ball probably a bit much, right?
Right. Back then.
But
Yes, sir.
but I'll say this, you know, it definitely helped him to be open, how much they ran at Kansas City. And
Yes.
so, I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. and,
Yes.
and that's kind of where I'm at. And if you're wearing them down and able to do that and wear them down like you can by having that true commitment to it, eventually you're going to break through with it and have those big games that you're talking about, TP.
Well,
But
the last thing I want to say on that part of it is this, because we're talking about coaches, and you, I think your vibe with Brent might be a little too cuddly with the staff, whereas I don't see Nagy that way. Nagy's that hardcore NFL guy, hardcore bean counter guy, and if you're wasting the university's money or Nagy's
bingo,
money, I'll call it Nagy's money. If you're wasting his money, your
bingo.
ass is going to be gone. And that goes for, coaching staff, player. You're going to be gone. That's my judgment of Nagy.
Yep.
So
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. TP, I'm gonna go ahead. I appreciate you calling in.
thank you. You got
I'm
it,
gonna
brother.
go. I'm gonna bring on Cody Stovall. We're gonna talk a little Oklahoma State for a few minutes while we
Yes,
got
sir.
him. And
All
I'm
right,
glad
guys.
to see it. I'm glad to see his ugly mug here too. Thanks for calling in, TP.
Yes, sir.
Look at this. Welcome to the show, our friend Cody Stovall. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Oh, I can't hear you though. You're muted. And now you're back. Go
I'm good now?
back.
All right. I mean, obviously, it's good to be here. The circumstances as to why Oklahoma State was trending all day yesterday, little unpleasant, but I don't know, man. You understand that BYU gets this stuff constantly. I did firmly believe that it would never happen in Oklahoma for either of us. Like if BYU ever went to Norman, right? That would be something I would have never anticipated would be chanted anywhere in the state of Oklahoma.
Wait, what?
But
What? Whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm missing something. Say this again. Restart. What
on
happened?
what
What got chanted?
the what people say to the Mormons way too often. in the stands that starts with a 4-letter word. Yeah. So our student body, they I don't know, man. They tried to get kind of cute with it, and they tried to make a chant that said "Refs a Mormon," but why they thought if you have 7,200 people in a building, why they thought that there wasn't going to be a handful of people that decided to go against what everybody else was saying. That's what's mind blowing to me. Brett Yormark, Big 12, they're doing an investigation on this. BYU fans are like, freaking out, but I think that they'll come to find out that it really was 95% of 7,000 people chanting refs, but you are going to have some outliers. And unfortunately,
Oh, sure.
Those
There's a lot of hate that gets lodged that gets shot towards BYU's direction anyway.
I know, bro, and I don't
for whatever
I don't
reason.
I don't get it. But it's kind of one of those things. Like even if it does come down the pipe that there was literally only, let's say, 15 people saying the F word in the whole building, that's not what should have been talked about. What should have been talked about is we just took out.
I guess I wasn't privy to this situation. So
I don't know how, bro. That was the most trending thing in the Big 12 yesterday. Well, I mean, you're not in the Big 12, so maybe that's part of it.
Definitely not in the Big 12. But now here's the thing. I haven't been on Twitter as much lately either because I feel like it's a drain on my psyche a little bit.
I've been there at times myself. Yeah.
Yeah. No, actually, and I want to get into talking about Okie Light, but what we're talking about in here today, I've decided to do a call-in show and like talking about this championship level defense and what is the ceiling? What's the floor for Oklahoma? Because you made the playoff. The expectation should be if you got a guy coming back to play quarterback, maybe you should take another step. I would think.
Right.
The defense isn't going to get worse. It may not be quite as deep, but I think it's definitely at least as talented and probably a little more talented than it was even with the guys that. I mean, you don't often replace a guy like Kendall Daniels and R. Mason that easily, but I would tell you that there's guys that are athleticism wise, they're real deal, and they've been over recruiting it. So, what's your take on it, though? I mean, I know that you kind of had a different bit of a take on like John Mateer in the situation, but as from the outside looking in, and I know that you like it when they don't play well, but explain, what is your take on OU right now? And I know, I actually setting you up to disagree with me there.
Well, no. I've always said, even on the show, I love to give you guys as much shit as physically possible. And you mentioned KD is kind of ironic. But at the end of the day, I've always said that I think that it's better for Texas and OU to both be successful in the SEC because that's going to help, even if it's only a fraction of a percentage with the perception of the Big 12. So having Texas make the playoff last year, OU make the playoff this year, I think that is beneficial towards some of the visual perceptions of the Big 12. Because, if you guys
especially
are
if you could play them more.
Huh?
Especially if they were playing more. And I'm talking Big 12 to the SEC all the way around.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that is something that Coach Eric Morris and the new staff, he has said verbally that he does want to play Bedlam. He understands how big of a deal it could be for in-state recruiting.
Absolutely.
So I think that there is going to be a push by Eric Morris to kind of bring this thing back. How that works. What we can all agree on is the financial incentive or disincentive, I guess, shouldn't be the determining factor because we're paying big boy money now. The donor,
and the thing is there's plenty of money made up by playing it to pay off whoever it may be that's on schedules, right? I mean, come on, man.
No, I think you're 100% right. Like, let's say 3 years from now, 2028, if you're a top 10 team and we're a top 15 team, it doesn't matter where that game's played. It's going to be sold out no matter what, just because people have been waiting for it for years. So that may be one of the unintended beneficial consequences of taking away Bedlam is when we do bring it back, it's going to be at such a fever pitch that it makes it a little bit more interesting.
I would give you that. I also think that all in all, I mean, it's fun to pick at each other and do all that kind of stuff. I think that's fun. But I think that of everything that, you know me, I'm not going to be the guy that's sitting here telling you that college football is dying or any of that kind of bullshit. It isn't. We know it isn't. It's more people watch it every year, and in fact, right now with the way things are with NIL and stuff, you just saw the worst team in FBS history. We're talking from day one of college football till now.
Yeah.
In the last
Yeah.
couple of years, just won the national championship.
Yep.
And they did it with a bunch of guys that
From
a lot of
JMU.
Big 12 teams didn't recruit.
Correct. Yeah.
So, I think if that doesn't tell you that there's at least some level of parity right now, then what does? So, to me, I feel like but what if I do think that there's anything wrong with college football, it's that the money is making schools give excuses to not play rivals anymore, and I do not like this. I do not like this at all. I think it's a bad trend. Rivalries need to continue. Notre Dame and SC should be playing every year.
Yep.
Hell, Nebraska and Oklahoma should still play.
I was about to say, if you're not playing Bedlam, you damn sure should be playing Nebraska at least.
Right. And Matt Rule has made that clear that he wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. It's I think that there's a decent amount wrong with college football personally at the moment, but I think it's just kind of the way that we grew up loving it, right? I think my favorite,
yeah, man, come on.
Most of our favorite parts was watching a Rocky Calmus come over from Jinx as a true freshman and play a couple snaps on special teams. And then you're waiting for the year that Rocky Calmus, it may be year 2, year 3, year 4, but you got to follow that development. So by the time Rocky Calmus is starting to fly over people and make game, changing plays, you've already invested years into that kid. So I don't know, it means more. It feels more. And I think OU and OSU both, you're looking at the guys like Deshaun Brown or Jaleel Johnson who have been here for 5 years. It's so rare nowadays, right? I'm sure OU doesn't have very many players that have been here for 5 years. Oklahoma State only has like 3, 4, 5, something to that effect. And it's so easy to follow those guys, to cheer those guys on, because we've watched them go through the grind. We've watched them fight through injuries. We've watched them go from second string to first string to third string. You know what I mean? We've watched them go from a defensive end to a linebacker back to a defensive end. So their storylines inside college football, those are dying. That, I think, is the most egregious crime from the NCAA and everybody else that has allowed this thing to get this way. And then as it pertains, again, back to OU, I think that you guys kind of set the precedence that is how good you can be. If you can make the CFP in the SEC, that's saying something, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and prop up the SEC, but numerically speaking, the SEC is probably going to get more teams in. The Big Ten's probably going to get a little bit more love now after how many natties they've won back to back to back.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the Big 12 is going to be on the outside looking in until we prove it. Right, we put a lot of eggs in the Texas Tech basket, and then that Oregon game, it was rough. It was rough to watch, and you didn't necessarily
because Oregon kind of let them stay in it, right? I mean, the Ducks kind of let them stay in it too. They were never completely out of reach. I mean, it was 21-3 was the final, wasn't it, or 24-3?
Yeah, it was just Tech has a top 3 defense. They proved that we just didn't realize
it was a good defense. It was a good defense, but I would tell you that there were some mistakes made. But if you allow Tech to stay in that and you can't find a way to get in the end zone, it's almost, it's the way I feel about Oklahoma with the damn Red River game right now. But, come on, man. You gotta figure that out. And Barry Morton was not good in that game. He was not good.
So now,
granted, Oregon has a very good defense also.
Yeah. John Mateer specifically, that second half of Bama was, I don't know, man. It was weird. But I also think that Arbuckle tried to do some things a little bit too cute in the second half as well. I think you learned from.
In the Bama game?
I think that CFP bowl game will be a really good learning moment for Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer. So because of that, I think offensively you guys will be much better this season. Defense, if it stays the same.
But why will they be better, Cody?
because I think you added so much cachet from your CFP run that the transfer portal guys that you got are instantaneously going to take the field and provide a lot of a boost for you. I think over the last couple of years, there was a little bit of a wait and see approach from recruits and portal. Is OU really going to get back to that levels? You guys just proved that you can get back to that level very, very quickly. Now you have gone back to what your standard is. I think that has allowed you to attract a higher caliber of a transfer portal player this previous season. And in addition to that, I'll also say I think that Brent Venables has learned to navigate the portal a little bit better. He can be a little bit more of a sniper now, as opposed to trying to handle a mass casualty event. And that, I think that allowed you, again, to go pick the guys out of the portal that you know can play instantaneously. You mentioned Nagy earlier. See, this is something that Oklahoma State's following now with Raj Murdy that we didn't have. And I think OU before Nagy didn't have it. That's the checks and balances to say, hey, I know you really want
having like a scouting staff, you mean, that's going out there and identifying these guys?
And like, dude, Ben Arbuckle or Venables himself, maybe they wanted X, Y, and Z player from Rice. Let's say they wanted this defensive tackle from Rice. Matt Nagy might come down to the field and say, hey, man, I did some investigation. I watched some film. I don't want to give that kid that amount of money. I promise you it's not worth it. That checks and balances system that's beneficial to the football field, I think puts you guys in the playoffs. And now Oklahoma State is getting the same thing out of Raj Murdy, which is why we're insanely excited about this upcoming season. You're mute.
Let's get into that. Sorry. Let's get into that. I want to talk about that a little bit anyway. And I think a lot of us have, of course, us OU fans, we're going to poke at you a little bit, but we've been calling it the Oklahoma State mean green or whatever because you got so many of those guys coming from North Texas. And I would tell you that there's a part of me that's like, I don't know that they weren't good enough for the Big 12 as a whole, right? I think that you definitely I like the quarterback situation. I love your running back situation. Yeah. Love that part. Right. I think you made key pieces is one thing. What is everybody's? Is there a level of concern about the amount of guys that you brought from Denton?
No, because I actually anticipated it would be a lot more. Like we ended up bringing over 17 North Texas players, 18 if you count the JMU running back that was at North Texas before that for a couple seasons. 18 players out of that 12-win team with how debilitated our roster was already. I actually figured that we'd end up with 25 of them dudes. And there's actually a couple other North Texas players that I really wanted to come over that for whatever reason didn't. But to put down the confusion or cause for concern, after we got the 18 North Texas players, we went out and got 16 more G5 guys, but then we went out and got 23 other P4 dudes, like Isaiah Chisholm coming over from UCLA. He had 173 tackles in the last 2 years, 84 tackles and 11 and a half tackles for loss alone last season. How UCLA let him go, I don't know, but people will say the same thing.
Right? Baller. That dude's a baller.
Yes, it's like, well, why did Oklahoma State let Wendell Gregory go, right? I get it. It's the same conversation that UCLA fans are having all over there. Jacob Sexton, you and me have talked about him on your show. You've talked about Jacob Sexton to me off air before his injuries and how excited you were 2 years ago for Jacob Sexton. So
to be healthy again. Yeah.
When we
he hadn't stayed healthy though.
I know that, dude. But a lot of these offensive linemen in the portal haven't, right? Even some of the ones that left Oklahoma State have battled.
Listen, I think part of that health problem, by the way, just to not sound like I'm being negative about Jake, I think some of it has to do with, medical team and training staff, so not training staff as much as, the trainers and the guys that are, the strength and conditioning it was a little outdated.
Dude, there's a reason that you're good at this job. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I haven't got to talk about this enough on my show. I mean, I've talked about it in segments. It almost deserves its whole new segment. Oklahoma State, right? So like I got, I'll send you some cool stuff I got from some players in regards to like times, and they're doing a lot of their plyometrics. But The RSI is the new metric that they're going by. Rob Glass is a legend, right? For Oklahoma State for 22 years.
Oh yeah, they're paying the shit out of him. I get it.
And there was seasons
Yeah.
where we were averaging putting 18 pounds per player on, and we were cutting body fat down to 3-4% on big fellas. That was all well and good, but we had tons of injuries. I'm not equating what Rob Glass was doing to injuries, but what I am saying is the new things that they're doing are just insanely different. It's all predicated upon plyometrics now. So they're working on lateral, side to side quickness and strength in like yoga and things of that nature that Rob Glass was never going to do. It's pretty incredible to see that everything's the nutrition staff has changed. Everybody is new. All of the strength and conditioning is entirely different. And I think it's going to be a big deal because we have dealt with a lot of injuries, yes, but more importantly, I just think that we got outdated. We got outdated,
Yeah,
and it became something that was hard to sales pitch now.
listen, here's the thing. I mean, I can tell you about. I know a bunch of different guys that go to a bunch of different programs at this point. Some of them were at Oklahoma, some of them weren't. But there's number one. One of the things I would say about BV is that he's still pretty old school in the amount of practice they're doing. We heard Kurt Signetti talking about, man, we don't go over an hour and a half. And we don't do 15 practices in the spring, and we're not doing 25, 30 practices in the damn fall either.
Dude, they do little things. They changed their football schedule.
Listen, they were healthy when they got to the playoff, bud.
For 18 years, dude, Mike Gundy basically operated the same way. Mm-hmm. And you had your early morning workouts, your early morning film. They don't do any of that anymore. They give their mornings to the players, right? They want you to be in class. They want you to take care of your stuff, but they don't start football stuff till like noon. Sure. And they freaking love it. It gives them more time for recovery. It gives them more time to themselves. It gives them time to get caught up on schoolwork.
You can prepare for a game without hitting each other. I mean, listen, I think there's a certain level of hitting that you got to do for toughness sake, right? I don't think you can go completely new school. But here's what I like. You brought up Nagy, and what's the name of your GM again? I forget.
Raj Murti.
Raj Murti, yeah. So with Nagy, he's only been an NFL guy, right? He's only been an NFL guy. He was, and then of course the Senior Bowl. That's an NFL thing. So, I mean, they're used to seeing this is the way they do it. You're tracking this, you're tracking that. Same with Randall Stevenson was the CEO of AT&T for a while, but he was also one of the he was working with Jerry Jones and them with the Cowboys. These are guys that are NFL bred, and they look at it from that, and they're looking at it from that lens. I think there's definitely some, because with Schmitty, they moved him to a different position, retitled him. They brought a new guy in. I think that it's clear that there's going to be some changes to that. I think that Brent has reluctantly tried to back off of it a little bit. I think that, there's still some times that he probably doesn't much. But if you're stacking that much weight on a player at this point, and now we have 6, if you want to win a national championship, it's 16 games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, that is crazy.
Possibly 17 with conference championships, things like that. Bro, that's a lot of fucking football. And we're stretching it out.
Yeah.
Look, man, you have to find a way to keep these guys healthy. And I think that you have to continue to evolve. And I think that's, I mean, look, we can get into, as we talk about what we saw from, me and you have talked about this a lot. I know we haven't had you on enough, but what was going on with Mike Gundy was a lack of wanting to evolve.
Yeah.
He had no desire to.
Correct.
You're seeing that a little bit with Dabo Swinney still.
He's starting to, but is it too late? Because that was Mike Gundy started to last year, but it was already too late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, did he really though? I mean, or was he still half in and half out?
It seems fairly obvious by now that he was forced to make a lot of those changes, and honestly, it went so bad so fast. I could see Mike Gundy in his office, talking to the powers that be at some point in time and saying, you wanted me to relinquish control. Look what we have now. And it's just we relinquished control to the wrong person. And I had faith. I remember being on the show. I was so excited about Todd Grantham coming over with all of this SEC staff and all of these SEC transfers.
Yeah.
For, you know what I mean? Getting all these guys from Miami and Florida. I thought it was
but
gonna
I
be
gotta
great.
say, Grantham was one of those guys that, man, everybody was running him off. I was surprised that was the pick that they came up with. And you guys ran him off immediately too. I mean, shit, as soon as Gundy was out, so was he.
Well, we ran him off. On-field performance was a major problem. But so I talked to some dudes the other day, or last week and a half ago, and they went. He told me, he's like, we hung out all day. We went four-wheeling, we went mudding, we went out to eat, we went and messed around, we went and threw the ball around. And I was like, yeah, dude, duh, that's what you do. He's like, Cody, we haven't done that in like 2 years. Like, we haven't gone out as a position group and actually had fun in a couple years. And I said, that's insane to me. He's like, that a couple buddies would go here and there, but as a full unit, he said that I haven't seen that in 2 years. Little things like that matter, right? You're not going to run through a brick wall for somebody in the fourth quarter if you're not invested in them, if you don't consider them a brother, if you don't give 13 flips or shits about him. And I think that's what we saw this previous season, and even to some degree the year prior. You mentioned Kendall Daniels. It was actually fun for me. I don't know how many Oklahoma State fans would agree, but it was fun to see Kendall Daniels like the game again, because remember, that's all we talked about.
Oh man, we loved him, bro.
it was you could count. Oh. Unfortunately, it was 20, 30 times that he just stopped running on the field at OSU his last year here. But now we know why. The locker room was not good. The units weren't tight. They weren't close. They were asking Kendall Daniels to do a bunch of crap that he wasn't. He didn't.
Well, he wasn't accustomed to it really either. That was
right?
his first year playing linebacker. I think he was confused a lot. I saw confusion a lot. I get what you're talking about. I've watched the film that you guys have talked about and stuff. I didn't necessarily judge it in that way, but but I don't always judge players like that anyway.
Hold on. What do you mean? Effort's effort. What do you mean you don't judge? Effort?
There was a couple of times that
stop running in the middle of the play multiple times.
I watched a couple of times where he felt like he got cut off by another player.
Bro, miss me with the bullshit. I was just praising him, and then you're gonna bring this.
I'm not even saying that you shouldn't feel. I'm not even saying that Oklahoma State fans shouldn't feel the way they feel about it. I'm not saying that.
I'm not.
I agree with what you're saying about but the culture part of it. Look, I think that the entire team felt like that coaching staff had quit on them a long time ago.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Kendall Daniels, we were riding him and we're screaming at the TV. Why is he not trying? Why is he not tackling? Well, now we know why. It's because they put everything on Kendall Daniels and then they gave him no tools to work with. So he had all these responsibilities and they weren't helping him navigate them. So I understand the frustration. I understand why he ended up doing what he did. And I'm happy to see that he loves the game of football and he had a phenomenal year at OU. That's what we did with Kendall.
He
remember his first and second. Well, primarily his freshman year. His freshman year or sophomore year, we let him pin his ears back. Right? Yeah. We gave him a job and we allowed his athleticism to shine. That's what y'all did. We didn't do that. We tried to overcomplicate it. We tried to make him essentially a green dot kind of guy instead of allowing him to read, react, make gangster plays. We took that away from him and he found that again in Stillwater. I think, again, part of that is that GM factor, which we did not have. I told you just now how the players are actually hanging out together as a group and they're doing stuff, and that's important. But I think another big thing when it's all said and done is that GM capability. I love Kenyatta Wright. Everybody in Cowboy country loves Kenyatta Wright. He's a remarkable recruiter. He has a good relationship with the young dudes, but he's not a GM, right? I don't care who it is. If somebody handed me, Jason, I love you. If you handed me $13 million and said, Cody, I expect you to divvy this out amongst 85 dudes responsibly, I'm probably going to mess it up. Why? Because I've never held $13 million. I don't know. And that's what
it's not your business. That's not
what
what
we
you
did
do.
to Kenyatta Wright. They're like, oh, well, here's 13 mil. Go give it to these guys. And unfortunately, what I think happened is Kenyatta didn't check the film, right? He went and offered those dudes that the new staff was telling him he needed to go offer. And so he did. Raj Murdy's not going to do that.
Well, and that's where I feel
If somebody from the staff goes to Raj Murdy and says, I want Zaquan Patterson from Miami, and I told him he's probably worth $20,000.
Give me his background. Give me Raj's background. I don't know. I don't know him. Yeah.
Glad you asked. So he's a genius. He graduated college by 19. He got offers to go. He got $1 million contracts at Chase Bank or Edwards, something to that effect, right out. But so here's his deal. He wasn't good enough or big enough to play a high school ball. He played soccer, and one of the football coaches, like he played, but he was more of a statistician kind of guy. But during soccer practice, he would draw up plays. So the soccer coach, who also was on the football staff, kept having to tell, stop, go play soccer, stop bringing me these plays, man. But he was obsessed with designing plays. Right? He wanted to learn why tackles did this and why a pulling guard did this. And so much so that he eventually was like, dude, just come work for the football team. And then so he got his start in high school as obviously volunteer. And it was, he talks about, I was ironing jerseys, I was doing laundry, I was sorting through film. And then he took that into college. He got really tight with Dana Holgerson. Dana Holgerson taught him how to not only, kind of read film, but how to grade film individually. And he taught him, this is what the air raid looks like. This is why I do it this way. And this is why I want to establish the running game. He's a film dude. He's a film dude that decided, I don't want $1 million banking contract or financial, institution. I want to grind through football. And, he's the type of dude that would sleep in his car just to be at the football facilities, just to be able to wake up and go back.
Kind of like the money guy dude that Billy Bean's assistant.
That's actually a pretty damn decent analogy. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, he went to like Harvard or Yale or some shit.
Yeah. And so like he was, he worked with Houston, obviously. Then he got the assistant GM job at TCU. He learned a lot there. Now, obviously, he took a lot of what they did at North Texas. By the way, here's another reason why we're excited about the GM. Last year, North Texas had the smallest American budget.
Wow.
And he put that roster together.
So, yeah, he has an eye for talent, apparently.
He loves film. He's not going to just go off
and
of
he's finding value, which is what this is fun. That's funny you said that because real quick, just want to acknowledge this. Cody is back, folks. Cody is back. And before we go any further, I just want to say it is so good to see you back. And so you got that energy, brother. I know you're feeling better.
Yeah.
You're not all the way 100% back, but damn it, it's good to see you. And so, hey, man, it makes me happy, bro.
Well, when you're missing limbs, you'll never be 100%. But I'm a good 73.4% back. We'll call it that.
Awesome. Well, are you still doing the things that you need to be doing to get all the way back and everything?
Yes.
I know Mama Bear's in the middle of your ass, so I get it. Yeah.
Yep. It's dumb. It's dumb, but
glad that you're feeling better though, brother. We were worried about you. The whole audience was worried about you. We're happy to see you, man. We're happy to see you.
I greatly appreciate and like I said, man, speaking of Mama Bear, she would punch me in the throat if I didn't mention the GoFundMe because I was off for over a month, all that fun shit, right?
Yeah.
Every time she asked me, when you make an appearance, did you mention your GoFundMe? Because we still got stuff to do.
Listen, there's a lot of money that you got. She was missing a lot of work.
She had to take off for a while.
I know that it was. I was, for that very reason, I was encouraging you guys to bump up that goal.
You were.
Yeah, I was, because I was like, man, we got to. And I kept telling everybody here, but I know that
Yeah, you
when
hit me
we
up. You were like, "I think we can explode this," and I was on a bunch of meds, and I was like, "What is he talking about?"
you were like, "Oh, we're good, we're good."
I'm not.
And
I
I
don't
was
want to
like,
explode.
"Bro,
I'm not exploding
bro."
anything right now.
I was like, "Bro, we got to get you some more money." But I'm glad that you guys are good to go. But yeah, hey, listen,
Got
we'll
to
pop that link
celebrate.
back up there. Yeah, Fringe. You. Oh yes, and by the way, yeah, congratulations go out to your son. Obviously, my boy Logan. He'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
going to
yeah.
Fringe University. He's starting his senior baseball season. He's
Yeah.
going to go pitch at Friends this next year. Excited for him too as well. I know he's happy about it. I know you guys are proud. Congratulations to
Yeah,
Mama Bear and
I'm
you
proud
and
because
young Logan.
I'm proud because he stayed with it. You know what I mean? I talked about it on my show. It's kind of like when you get married. That's when women start hitting on you the most. When he
Yeah,
committed to Friends is when some of the offers that we were kind of waiting for started coming in. But he was, dude, I don't know, he was sold, and then they sent him the national letter of intent, and I was like, you don't have to sign that today. You don't even have to sign it tomorrow. I mean, you got plenty of time to wait. And I was like, listen, some of these schools that we've been talking about for a couple of years, they're starting to kind of get closer to that number that you're looking for. So
right.
maybe you should give it some time. And he pulled he pulled the I'm 18 now move. And he was like, "Dad, I want to sign. I want to be a Friends Falcon. Like I'm part of the family, and I know some of the football players. I know all the coaches. I know the training staff." He's like, "I feel like I'm already basically there." And I was like, "All
Yeah.
right, dude. You know
Well,
what?
that's killer. That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude. And you know what? If he's happy with if he's happy with it, you can only just and listen. Here's the thing. This is a new world of college athletics.
yeah,
He goes over there and performs, and he outgrows the he can move, and
oh yeah,
and
yeah,
there. So the transfer portal is a good thing for that very reason. But let's go back to this Oklahoma State stuff. I'm a fan of Eric Morris. I think that what he was able to do in short order, by the way,
yeah.
after getting to North Texas, I mean, to build that thing out. I love the offense. Uh, I think that you got. One of the things that I was wanting to kind of give to you for sure, but to all Okie Light fans that I've interacted with, it's like I remember a lot of that narrative in like Sherman's dumbass saying, "Well, how are we going to get a better coach than this guy, than Gundy, and blah blah blah." Like this is how
Hey,
you go
you know
pay
what?
some
You
money
know
and go
what?
find that guy.
I don't know why you and
Way
my
to
boy.
go!
I
I
don't
just
know
had to
why you
bust
and
him.
my boy have so much daggone beef. I don't get it. But see,
Can't
since you're
stand that
gonna
guy.
try to throw Jason under, I got to give him props now. He was one of the first people after the Mike Gundy were our fans are poor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jason was one of the first people that texted me and he was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Are you finally starting to reel back a little bit?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's not." He's like, "I'm one of those poors, bro."
That was bad taste on Gundy's part for sure.
Yeah.
Bad taste.
And
Totally
his
bad.
son, Jason's son, was kind of not getting recruited heavily enough, right? It just he finally got to see the innards of some of the things that Mike Gundy had been responsible for, and even
Sure.
Jason was like, "I love Mike Gundy. I'll die for Mike Gundy, but he's not bigger than the university. At the end of the day, I want my money because his daughter goes there. I want my money going to the university that gives a shit about winning, and it's not happening." And so,
That's the
yeah,
problem, and I think that
and
that's
that's
the
when you
problem with a
know,
lot of
brother.
coaches
Hold
too.
on.
By the way,
That's when you know Mike Gundy's goose was cooked. When the Jasons of the world started being like, "Yeah, yeah,
fair
this is
enough.
probably a done deal."
There were some people though, even after they fired him, that were like totally like, "This is ridiculous. How are we gonna? This was really a bad."
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the doom and don't get me wrong. There's plenty of doom and gloomers that are Oklahoma fans. I'm not. I'm not. It's not just an Okie Light
we
thing.
all
What
have
I'm
them.
saying.
Just yeah,
Oh yeah, it's wild, right? But
yep,
I was always, I mean, I felt like there was, for a long time, there was a large segment of the fan base that was convinced that you were never going to, and you may never do better on the whole than what Mike Gundy did. I think, I think that the idea that you could hire another guy that could be as successful at any point was, I think a lot of Oklahoma State fans felt like that wasn't a possibility. And I was like, what the hell? You have great facilities, you have money, you have support.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Even in all your shit talking, you have always said Oklahoma State deserves better. You guys are better. You have the facilities to be better.
The support of the fan base, even. I mean, the fact that, I think you're all crazier than shit. But but the truth be told, that's a real fan base, dude. And I bust chops, with Trent and Jason and all those guys. But being honest, I respect it. I respect the fact that, because Oklahoma fans are the same way. There's a real dedication to that program, and look,
it's because we don't have pro teams.
Don't have people in the stands there, bro.
It's because we don't have NFL teams, and I hope we. I know there's talk of us buying the Seahawks. That poetic justice there would be pretty insane. Like, if that does happen, everybody in the state of Washington does officially have the right to hate us for life, right? They still don't like us for taking the Thunder. But I don't want an NFL team. I don't want an NFL team in Oklahoma because I love that.
I don't think it's ever going to happen anyway.
Huh?
I don't think it'll ever happen, really, to be honest with you.
I hope not. I hope not. For the sake of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma football and bringing Bedlam back.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think Bedlam's coming back. It has to come back. And I think that if I'm being honest, that's the only problem I really see. I think, there's issues in college football. I think the biggest issue being that they throw money they threw NIL at a problem that wasn't really the thing. And now they're bitching about now. And the thing is that, and we both know this, the universities are and coaches are telling guys to get in the portal.
Yeah. Oh,
we want to yell and bitch and complain about the players not having any loyalty and all that other bullshit. Loyalty goes both ways, by the way.
Yeah, I can count on one hand how many players that left Oklahoma State that they tried to keep. We only offered like 39 dudes to stay, and a handful
1 in 11. I can see that. You've won 4 games in 2 years. I get that part.
And you are right. There's a lot of our fan bases. They're like, here we go, no more loyal and true. What they're not realizing is most of those dudes, even a lot of the starters,
and true is a two-way street.
They were told, like, listen, man, the max you're gonna get is like $100,000, no matter what happens. So you should probably leave. So yeah, and those were starters that were making way more than that last year.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I think at some point, it's a business. It's always been a business, and now that you can treat it that way, the worries that I have, there's certain worries that I have, but the biggest one would be that you're getting away from rivalry games that have always been the lifeblood of this sport. I hate that part. I think it's, as much as I can't stand Texas and I can't stand Texas A&M, but I love it that they are playing again. I love it.
If we would have went 1-11 last year and our one win was Bedlam, is Mike Gundy fired? Maybe not.
He's still fired.
I'm just saying, that rivalries matter so much that if our one win last year would have been OU, we just slept a little easier, right? It's still a disaster, a travesty. It can't happen. But if your one win is over your rival, man, that almost because then you get to give your rival shit because you lost to 11-loss team.
But brother, you lost to Tulsa.
Oh, I know, and that's probably what let Mike Gundy go.
Oh, it was. It had to be, right?
Like they probably did not ever anticipate firing him that early.
Sure,
but you can't lose to Tulsa. You can't. You cannot lose to Tulsa.
No, you
can't. It's a fireable offense.
And here's the thing: we're talking 2 seasons, one season separated from a Big 12 championship game berth, and a full season away in a couple of games, and you fucking lose to them with a brand new coach. And good grief, man! It was. I knew that. I was like, if they're gonna do it, they have to do it now. They better do it now.
I was with you. Oh, and you know what? I think it's been long enough. I can say this. I can say with 100% certainty that Mike Gundy was he was pretty checked out after that Oregon loss.
Yeah.
And
He's
that's
shaking hands and taking selfies
people,
with fucking Oregon fans and shit.
That's coming from somebody that was in his office at that time saying it was a massive difference. When we got home from Eugene, Mike Gundy's whole disposition changed. Yeah. And then you saw what you saw out of Tulsa, and Chad Weiberg saw the same thing that person in Mike Gundy's office saw. That's why what happened.
I don't know if I think you did read that column that I wrote after the Tulsa game, whenever he was still in there, like talking about situational stuff on the field that we got to teach and do and get better. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
Bro, you're missing. I mean, they're throwing the right questions at him, surprisingly, from the media around here, but they're throwing the right questions at him, and he's still sitting there, like, talking about shit like it was, like it I'm sitting there going, brother, you don't even, he was that pompous and fucking, that he couldn't even see the forest through the trees anymore. I think it was a real look into where his mind was. Is this, there's no way that this is my fault that we've allowed it to do this, quote unquote. None of that. It's that hey, we got young guys and we'll get them there like we always do. No, dude, no, this isn't the same era. No.
I'll tell you what I think transpired as a whole was in the offseason, he was told, you don't have a choice. You have to relinquish control, right? It is what it is. You have to do this. This is not optional. And so he's like, all right, fine, whatever. And then he allowed Todd Grantham and Doug Meacham to kind of, assemble the players that they wanted. He probably helped Doug Meacham a decent amount, right, trying to figure that out. But then as soon as Haas Haney got hurt, Mike Gundy probably realized we don't have the talent. Todd Grantham didn't go get the talent that we need. I can't win. I'm being told that I'm not in, control of the defense, so I have no say over there. So I'm going to throw my hands up and let you guys see this is what we have. And then before the Oregon game, what does he say? Oh, yeah, they spent a lot of money. We don't have very much money, so there's going to be a difference. I think Mike Gundy was setting us up then to know that this roster that we're taking to Eugene is the worst roster I've had in years. And he couldn't say it.
But he threw, but he did say, he was talking about how little money was being spent, which I know that wasn't even true.
I know. That's my way. I think that was his way of saying we don't have anything like their talent. We went out and got
he was certainly trying to lessen the blow, but he was trying to put it with when you see that this is the reason that I've been saying for a long time that Gundy was well past his shelf life, because he was still at that point, even at that point, he was so clueless to the fact that he had not been the caretaker of that program like he was supposed to be. I said it, but arsonist, he was the creator and the arsonist, right? Builder and he blew it up too. He did all that stuff, and look, it's a shame. Here's the deal.
I agree.
Talk to me about Eric though. What are you seeing from the staff? The energy behind it. What is your expectations for this year?
Oh, I mean, dude, they're all young dudes, right? He's young. Raj Murdy's only 24. Skylar Cassidy's right 29, 30. Most of their staff is young. G. Rich is a former Cowboy that has a lot of those recruiting tied connections.
Yeah.
You bring over the star players over from North Texas. You already mentioned Drew Messemaker, Caleb Hawkins. You bring in the 1,300-yard wide receiver in Wyatt Young. You bring in the almost 1,000-yard slot receiver next to him, Miles Coleman. That we went out and got Kenyon Huddleston, one of their defensive linemen, coming over. We brought in 3 of their offensive linemen, which we obviously needed a lot of help in that department. You go out and get Sexton. You would go out and get some of these other important pieces that, I think are going to be big. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of energy. Even if you talk to the defensive players, which most of my players that I get to mess with are now primarily on the D side, thanks to the transfer portal.
Sure.
So I don't know, precisely what's happening on the offensive side of the room on a daily basis. But what I can tell you from the defensive side of the room is the level of excitement, the level of faith in the coaching staff is light years different. Like
Right.
last year, these players, because if you've been here for the last 2 years and the coaches were telling you to do stuff last year, I mean, it's kind of easy to question your coaches. You're not supposed to,
Sure.
but when things work and when things aren't working, and when your body feels right
Well,
and when it doesn't feel right. And
buy-in doesn't happen very easy when you're getting crushed.
well, and there was a lot of, and I've heard this from multiple position groups. Todd Grantham his staff created a lot of division amongst each other. So instead of like one first string, second string battle, instead of that being like, a tight family, I don't know, I'm going to try to beat your ass and then battle for you. That wasn't happening. The coaches were pitting those two against each other. So even outside of practice, the first teamer and the second teamer, they didn't freaking like each other because of some of that was instituted in the offseason by the staff. And you know what? Maybe that's how it was done 20 years ago in Florida. I don't freaking know, but it was terrible. So again, there's excitement. The defensive players even know that the offense is about to go light up the scoreboard, whether we like it or not. Oklahoma State is back to putting up 40 points a game kind of situation. We don't know what we're going to look like on defense. Skylar Cassidy's defense at North Texas wasn't great statistically. They were very opportunistic, like O State in 2011. They had a lot of turnovers, but they gave up a ton of yards. They gave up a ton of touchdowns.
Okay.
They were just very opportunistic.
Yeah, Tulane was able to move the ball pretty easily on them in that game.
Yeah. But the common consensus seems to be that he wasn't able to get the Isaiah Chisholms at North Texas. Right? And it is true.
Sure.
At North Texas, you're not going to have the size, the facilities, the NIL.
Sure. Oh, no, of course not.
So Skylar Cassidy did good with what he had. He got good at creating turnovers, which is what helped them defensively, get to the metrics they were at. Eric Morse believes in his defensive staff, and now that he can go get these, Isaiah Chisholm level players, he expects it to be significantly better. But
okay, well, that's where I feel like there's probably for everything that I've heard about Eric Morse is that, I mean, to me, and this has to be what it is for any head coach if you want to be successful, is that you hold guys accountable for doing their job. So if it feels like to me he expects results. We're going to give you a budget to get the right kind of guys in here to play good. And to put a decent defense on the field, we're going to give you time to get it where it needs to be. But we need to see progress or it's going to move. I think it's the same thing that we're talking about with Oklahoma right now with Ben Arbuckle. Look, make no mistake, you cannot have an offense that's in the hundreds in scoring or total offense. You cannot at Oklahoma. It's not acceptable. It will never be acceptable. Now, the tough thing about that, if you're Brent Venables, is that falls on you now. And it'll fall on Eric Morris too.
Yeah.
We talk about Lincoln Riley and what he doesn't do with, his defenses always suck because of this and that and this and that. Okay. Same thing that you see. And now it's kind of turned itself into reverse. And so the conversation's turning back to Brent Venables. And again, he made the playoff. It's not completely doom and gloom, but the point is when success also brings expectations with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, you can't. Oklahoma State fans, should we be happy with a 5-win season after a 2-win and a 1-win season? Yeah, we should theoretically.
Well,
but we can't be. We can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that 5 wins is probably enough. I think that you have to expect at least 6 to 7, I would think, right?
I think if we would have hired like Rodgers from Washington State, 5 wins would have been acceptable. You can't go after an Eric Morris level dude who's turning down other SEC opportunities and spend 21 plus million and bring over 18 of the top players from North Texas and 85% of the staff and Raj Murdy and get all these new donors and get this heavy investment. You can't do all of that.
You have to give it time. You got to give it time to gel together a little bit, though.
You can't spend that kind of money. You can't get this level of donor investment and roll out a 5-win season. You can't do it. With this kind of money, with this kind of investment, you have to win at least 7-8 games. You have to. And that's the downside.
I haven't looked at the schedule. What does the schedule look like?
It's very manageable. It's very manageable. It's our two big home games. Week 2 at Oregon, no chance, right? I don't think there's any chance we have the offense and defensive schemes collectively dialed in by week 2, no matter how good we are.
You still don't have the players either to beat those guys.
And then we play Texas Tech at home, but it's the third to last game of the year. So it's the very back end of the schedule at home.
Okay.
We avoid some of the heavy hitters once again. We don't play BYU. We don't play TCU. We do play Iowa State this year, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we play a lot of the teams that have the capability of winning the league instantaneously this year. We avoid for the most part. So yeah, I mean, it's not an easy schedule per se, but it's very, very manageable. I think I don't know. I looked at the schedule, and that was my first thought was, well, with this level of talent, with an NFL level quarterback, you got to win it 7-8 games. Like that has to be the basement.
Here's what you have to. I would tell you just from the outside looking in, and let me look at Oklahoma State's schedule real quick.
Well, we go with Tulsa, then we go with Oregon at home, then we have Murray State, then we begin Big 12 play on the road versus West Virginia. Yeah, but you know, we don't know how West Virginia's going to look. Rich Rod in year 2.
Oh, I know they're going to be pretty damn good with Michael Hawkins, man. That's like Pat White type of player for Rich Rod, bro. I think he fits what Rich Rod wants to do to a team.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
I think he does. And look, they were able to. I think they did pretty well in the portal too. I'm excited for Michael just because you want to see the kid succeed, and he wasn't going to get his opportunity here. And so shout out to him. I'm definitely going to be rooting for Michael and the Mountaineers, man.
Well, I know, dude. There's a decent number of OU fans that aren't super pleased to see him go, but you understand the situation.
Oh, man, I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about him going, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah. So after West Virginia
got the job. Yeah.
We UCF. Finally get UCF in Stillwater for the first time ever.
Okay.
Then we go to Houston, which is pretty much like Oklahoma State South. Tough. They're better than we are, but there will be more orange in that crowd because there is every single year. There is. When we play Houston football, it's literally like 65% orange. No bullshit. Mm-hmm. Maybe they hear this and try to do something about it this time, but yeah, it's literally 60-70% orange whenever we go down to Houston. Then you have Colorado and Stillwater for homecoming. You go to Ames, which doesn't seem super tricky. You go to K-State, which with Wendell Gregory and Rodney Fields and Jacoby Oliphant, that's going to be kind of exciting. I will be at that game. I've already talked to Chiquita about that one. So I will be in Manhattan for that. Then we have Texas Tech in Boone Pickens Stadium. We go to Arizona State, and then we finish up the year with KU at home. Like I said, it's a very manageable schedule.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here.
It's not crazy. It's not easy, but it's definitely not hard.
I don't think it's easy, but I don't think it's right. I think it's backloaded pretty tough. I mean, Iowa State should be really bad. I don't see them being good. But then you've got at Kansas State, Tech, at Arizona State,
and Kansas.
And Kansas too. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a tough haul. That being said, the expectation should not be 8-9 wins in this season. I think you can expect 6 because you're making a jump. I don't think that the expectation should be. Let me just say why. I'm not just saying. I get that. Look, I think Drew Mestemaker's good. I think that I like the Hawkins kid. Your Hawkins kid.
Yeah,
really good player. Balanced runner. I like the way he runs.
6'2", 215.
Behind his pads really well. I really like.
He runs like Ollie, Bo.
He kind of does, man.
Yeah.
So I like him. But here's the thing. You got to remember, this is a step up in competition. No matter no matter how you look at it, these guys are stepping up in competition. Even with Drew Mestamaker, look, I think that he can have a command of the offense. He's not going to have seen much of the type of talent that he will see in the Big 12 yet.
Right.
And so there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be some things. There's going to be some tough days, I think, especially against some of these other football teams that you're going to go up against, especially at the end of the year. Texas Tech is loaded, man. We know that. But so that's why I feel like, look, that to me, if you in that last 4, if you can pull a win out of that one, that's a good win.
Right.
Listen, you would have to basically win the rest if you just did that to get to 8. I don't see that, brother. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think it's tough.
The benefit we have is, like,
I think you want to compete in these games. You don't want to get blown out of them all.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to win a couple. And if you can steal a game here and there from one of the big boys, that'd be great. But it's all about building for the future. I think that you have to take it in steps. The expectation level can't be that crazy from 1-11 to go to 9 wins, brother. You can't.
I mean, yeah. If you're being reasonable, you're right.
Yeah,
but it's hard to be reasonable.
You must be reasonable.
This is a donor-driven world. Okay, so let's play this scenario out. But Eric Morris now has more donors than Mike Gundy ever did. You know what I mean? Because Mike Gundy didn't go to the banquets. He wouldn't go to the meetings with donors. He wouldn't shake all the hands and kiss all the babies.
Sure.
So those donors that have kind of wanted to be involved, that were kind of reluctant, they're in now.
Cool.
If Eric Morris wins 7 games year 1, those donors are going to be in even bigger next year.
Oh yeah.
If Eric Morris wins 5,
look, I think that you
games,
can get. I think you can be good, and I think if you have to look at it. If you should be reasonable enough to say, if we win 8, man, we freaking. That's like,
oh yeah,
whoa,
yes. Yeah.
I think we win 6 or 7, if we win 6 or 7, we got to be happy with it and know that we're headed in the right direction.
You're probably right. That 6 number seems a little. It's just
Listen, man,
it's hard to just. It's hard to justify.
It'll get BV fired.
If we spent $12 million on a roster, 5 wins is fine, but we didn't. That's the problem. We catapulted ourselves. We're trying to Texas Tech this thing, and we're trying to. And that's what I'm saying. If the donors are willing to do this, to push this 1 year massive influx, and it doesn't show return on investment, I don't think the donor pool is going to be the same the following season. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But if you win 7, shit, I think we can do it again.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State needs return on investment, right? Our donorship, we don't have Boone anymore.
I mean, but you've got a non-con game that you're going to get drug in.
Yeah, if we lose by 14, I'll be happier than a pig and poo, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. So I say, okay, Tulsa's a win, Murray State's a win. I'm not giving you West Virginia. It's on the road.
Right?
That's
on the road. Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's tough. UCF. Yeah, I mean, maybe
we should win, and it's at home.
It's at home. It's a home game, so I'll give you that. I'll give you. It's a toss up there. Maybe you should be able to. At Houston, though, just because it's going to be a home game South, doesn't mean you're going to be better than them. Willie Fritz in years 2 and 3 has always been really, really damn good. I think Houston's going to be better than they were last year, and they were one of the top teams.
I agree.
Colorado,
but it's a home game.
Yeah, you should beat Colorado.
It's a home game, bro.
Okay. So now we're looking, but okay, let's say Colorado, you're going to win. Let's say you win that game. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But let's say you do. At Iowa State, you should win. If you win those 2 games and you win UCF, Murray State,
Tulsa,
that's 5.
Yeah.
You're going to pull 2 wins out of Kansas State, Texas Tech, Arizona State, and Kansas to get to 7?
The 2
that's a lot to ask, brother.
I know.
That's a lot to ask. And I'm not. And we're giving you Colorado.
So you're right. 6 probably should be the reasonable expectation. I just don't know that the level of investment in 6 wins is quite the same. That's all.
I think you have to be willing. I think you look. I get where you're at.
We should be happy with 5 wins. But again,
I agree. That's where I'm at, and I would encourage Oklahoma State
and you
fans
have
to
this kind of investment.
stay optimistic if you are hearing a lot of good things out of players and coaches and stuff that you got to enjoy the process. Now, listen, maybe they go out and surprise some people and get a couple of wins that we don't really see. But yeah, I think 5 and 6 wins is progress, and then you make a jump in year 2. Now we're going, right?
I'll tell you another negative. You're having all of these pundits put Oklahoma State in the CFP in the top 25, and it's raising expectations. That Eric Morris doesn't necessarily have control of that. I understand that, but again, like the fact that CFP is mentioning Oklahoma State is getting more donors. Shit, I want to be a part of this. So if they don't see ROI, I think it could be somewhat negative. I don't want to necessarily.
I understand what you're saying, brother. I'm not. I get it. I get
That's one of the reasons why I'm sitting here saying that I'm happy with 7. I want 7. I think the bar should be 7. That would be phenomenal. I'm not jumping into we're going to win 9-10 games like I did last year. I believed in this Todd Grantham SEC stuff. I did. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. Mississippi State fans were talking about how, you guys are good. Florida fans thought we were stupid. Mississippi State fans thought we just found our next head coach, right? So I tried to lean on the Mississippi State fan side, and it did not work. It did not work out. Not work out in our favor. So it is what it is. But I just there's a lot. It's a lot of talent. It's going to come down to the trenches.
I think it will, and I think. Listen, man, I think that you can. What we have seen in the Big 12, if you make the investment, you can definitely do some good things. And we also know that. Look, the separation between teams is not as large as maybe it would. I mean, let's say what you were from last year to this year is going to be different. But I would say even there wasn't a ton of separation in some of those games that you played towards the end of the year with a really bad roster.
I was going to say, no, the last 5-6 games, we were in all of them until the very end of the fourth
you had some guys that had some heart and played hard. You know what I mean? And shout out to the guy that was the interim. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name, but the OC. Doug. Me too. I like Doug, man. I think he was a good guy.
I love Clint Bowen.
Yeah.
Clint Bowen.
My thing is that I do think that you're probably going to find a way, to hold on real quick. Let me let Bishop come in here for a second. I think you're going to find a way to definitely get better. And I think that maybe you could, if you can finish somewhere in the top half of the league, I think that's a great start.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? I think it's a great start. Bishop Frank, welcome into the show.
What's good? What's shaking? Cody is on the bench. That boy is throwing fire.
Hey, man, isn't it good to see him, man? He's in the pink again. He's in the pink again.
That's right.
Look at him.
This is me. You're seeing this is peak me. Right here.
Hey, you giving Jason a run for his money. He's a couple times. He's up here playing double dutch.
Come on now. Don't lie to the guy. Shit.
No, you let him inflate my ego temporarily real quick.
Nah, man. Listen, I tell you,
he's building my mental health back up. That's what he's doing. I appreciate. I'm
excited to see you guys take. I mean, it's not even fun to fight with you guys on Twitter right now. I mean, it's just it was so dumpy all season. Like, you couldn't even poke at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to poke the pokes when we're getting poked every freaking game.
Like smoked. Pokes are getting smoked every weekend. It's not even cool. I felt the Tulsa game. I was like, I felt terrible for you. I was like, oh God, he's getting killed right now. I know he is.
Yeah. I don't. I don't turn games off often.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been.
I'm hearing. I'm hearing something.
Listen,
I usually take notes during games. I didn't need to take notes last year. I just call a spade, and I realized that during the Tulsa game. I put down my notepad in the third quarter, and I said, "This is fucking pointless. This is dumb."
yeah, yeah. Listen,
Well, I tell you what, though, Cody,
What's up?
you needed to go through last year
Yeah.
because the staff that you have now
Yep.
puts you in a better position.
Yep. Rock
you got to get
bottom
worse
sucks,
before you.
but,
Yeah, you had to blow it up to get better because it was never going to get better.
Rock bottom sucks, but rehab can be a good thing sometimes, and we're going
Till you hit rock bottom, you can't go back up though. That's the thing. You can just get stuck right around that murky water area, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's it was a wild ride. It's been a wild time. I will say, I've given Mike Gundy a decent amount of grief here and there over the last few years. It does suck to see him go out that way. I mean, I wish he would have.
Well, he demanded it be that way though. He was not willing.
That's what I was about to say. I wish he would have found a way to have a smoother exit. Right, that he had some say in it, but his stubbornness. He was stubborn till the end. Right, there was never a moment of sitting down of reconciliation and saying, you know what, I've screwed the pooch. I've messed up the contract. You know what I mean? I'll work with you on X, Y, and Z. That he wouldn't do it. So things had to go the way that they did because Mike Gundy forced their hand. And
his ego was so big that it would not allow him.
Well, yeah, dude. There's
to accept responsibility in order to recover from where they were. You would have to accept responsibility and own it so that you knew what to fix. So, I mean, you know what I mean? He was at the point that there was no way he could allow himself to do that. And I'm going to tell you this, coaches are like this. This is not just a Mike Gundy thing.
Yeah.
You see this shit in football coaches all the time.
Coaches have egos. You want
Gary
Coach
Patterson at the end of his TCU run. Look at the way he lost his fucking mind.
Speaking of, can you believe, Bishop, you too, can y'all believe that Gary Patterson took a demotion and left Locked On to go to USC? What a pud. Who leaves Locked On for USC?
Wow. I wasn't sure what I thought about that Locked On thing for him anyway. It was weird seeing him smiley and shit, to be quite honest.
Yeah. It was fun, man. I enjoyed it.
Man, I'm a fan. I like Patterson's. He can be a real douche, but I tell you, I had a lot of respect for him. He's unbelievable defensive coach. I mean, the guy was able to, and that team that year that the Big 12 fucked that up for them and Baylor, they both could have won the national championship. They were that good. That TCU team was unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
They just ran up into a buzzsaw, Georgia. You know,
not that year. The year with Patterson back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I knew
they didn't have a championship game and they didn't get to go to the playoff.
Oh,
one of those teams. Both of those teams could have won the Natty.
Yeah,
they were good enough. But mostly TCU. Their defense was nasty.
I like it. Mama Bear needs me to go pick up some crap.
Hey, no worries, brother. I'm just glad to see you back.
Appreciate you.
We'll do some more. You know, we'll start talking more about, doing some more prognosticating on the Pokes later. But I'm glad.
I know you're not necessarily a massive baseball guy, but Bedlam baseball this weekend in Texas. I'm excited about it, man. I'm really pumped.
That's cool. Hell yeah, why not?
You know how I am about baseball, and I love Bedlam. I want Bedlam every week, every sport, no matter what, rain, sun, shine, snow, tornado. I don't give a shit.
I'm ready to see it back. I think that Oklahoma wants it back too. You've got to in the SEC. You're supposed to have another non-conference Power 4 at least. There's no reason why it shouldn't be in your own state. It's stupid that they don't play it. You have to play non-conference games anyway. It might as well be them. I think it's dumb if they don't play. It helps. It'll help Oklahoma State win or lose. It helps your strength of schedule. And bottom line is, I think that it's good for it's good for both fan bases. No two ways around it. I want to see it happen. I'm glad that Eric's saying what he is about it. You know, even when he's throwing a little shade at it, that's okay. That's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
You know, but hey, get after it. Let's make this shit happen. Amp it up so they'll play it. I'm cool with that.
Dude, y'all swept us in basketball last month, and I went into a depression. All right. I did not leave.
That should not happen this year on the men's side.
And like you got, don't even get
They're
me.
not good. They're not good.
I know. And we are. So how the see?
I don't know.
You're gonna try to get me started here, trying to get me hot, get my veins all poking out, my face turning red.
Yeah, this coach didn't really. He's not living up to what your expectations were on that.
No, I love Steve Lutz. I think he's killing it. I love it. There are some fans that are, when we lost Bedlam, they were like, "Oh, this is ridiculous."
Well, the thing is that there's talent.
It was an embarrassing loss.
It should be. Yeah, they haven't won. I don't know if they've won since then.
No, you guys are dead last in the SEC.
Yeah, they suck.
And we're 7th in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Which is a juggernaut of a basketball conference, thankfully. The beauty of the Big 12.
Before you leave real quick, what were your thoughts on what Kelvin said the other day about their NIL stuff at Houston?
I missed it. What did he say?
He was talking about them being poor and shit like that.
Compared to the rest of the Big 12,
it surprised me, bro. It surprised me.
I know.
They've got boosters doing more with brother. Come on.
Okay, could you imagine if somebody handed Willie Fritz a $22 million NIL budget? What that Houston team would look like?
Scary, yeah.
So I'm kind of happy that Houston is spending what they're spending. I hope they keep staying.
But they have a national championship caliber basketball team, so don't.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's coming from Kelvin. I love Kelvin Sampson. Don't get me wrong.
Me too. Dude, Calvin and Eddie, those were the days, man. I love watching Calvin and Eddie.
Yeah, Kelvin loved him some Eddie.
Yep.
Kelvin loved
dude. It would be a shame if Houston didn't. I mean, they increased. I think they went from like 2.7 mil NIL to like 9.9, 10 something this previous year.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're spending more, but I think they're still at the very bottom of the Big 12 for whatever reason. Yeah.
You have to invest, bro. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to invest. It's wild that they wouldn't, but I mean, you never know. Well, brother, I'll let you get.
Yep, I'm gonna go pretend to be productive and knock out some of this Mama Bear business.
My man, I appreciate you, bro.
Bishop, it was great. It was great seeing your forehead, man. That's all I can see.
I know.
Oh, there's your eyes.
The big old dome. That
what
big
up?
What
up? I've been staring at your forehead for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yes, he's back. He is back.
I appreciate you. Jason, go ahead and let him pop up in here so he can increase the value of your show and I can stop devaluing this daggone thing.
We're good, man. I appreciate you, brother.
We're good.
Love
you. Thank you for stopping by.
Sooner Nation, hopefully we get to talk about some Bedlam foosball here before too long. But until next time, God bless. Go Pokes. I appreciate you, brother, man.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you.
Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, friend of the program, friend of all. We just love the guy. I'm so glad he's feeling better.
Yeah.
And happy to have him back on the show with us. Bishop, hold on real quick while I fix something real quick here. This is starting to drive me nutty, but almost. Okay. All right, real quick. I'm gonna go to a quick commercial. I gotta use the restroom real quick.
No. You good?
And then we'll do the call. We'll do a call in right after that. But I'm gonna do a quick commercial break. Go to the restroom. We'll be right back.
There you go. We'll go.
Hey, everybody, before we get back to the show, I just want to take a second to shout out our partners at MyBookie. Hey, if you're watching games in college football, NFL, the NBA, NHL, or combat sports, you may as well get some action on it. MyBookie lets you bet on anything, anywhere, and anytime using point spreads, totals, money lines, and even futures. Hey, you can even bet live while the game is going on. If you're new, they'll even match your initial deposit up to $1,000, so your money goes further right out of the gate. At MyBookie, you can use the online sportsbook or play casino games, many of which feature live dealers. All of it's in one place, and it works just as smoothly on your cell phone as it does on your laptop. MyBookie allows you to deposit with cryptocurrency, features top-notch customer service, plus a rewards program that actually pays you for being a regular player. So if you're going to put action on the games anyway, do it the smart way and deposit with MyBookie and Hall of Fame Media. Just click the link in the description, hofmedia.us/mybookie, and you can take advantage of your first deposit match right now. You can support the show and get more bang for your buck all in one click. Quick reminder though, whether you're gambling at the casino or online, make sure it's only for entertainment purposes. Never bet more than you can afford to lose, and don't go chasing losses like a knucklehead. If you or someone you know needs help, text or call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. All help is free and confidential. Hey, everybody, before we get back to the show. All right, Bishop, give me 1 second. I'm trying to fix something here. Real quick, I want to get back into the conversation we were having about OU. As you saw that, I mean, the conversation was started. Okay, what is the, do they elevate, ceiling floor? What are we talking about, ceiling floor? Where are you at on that as far as your feelings on Oklahoma in 2026, and where should they land as far as you're concerned?
I feel that we have to be, we got to shoot straight. Right now, we know we have the defense parameter locked in, and we're only going to go up. With the concerns and questions that's on our offense, and the concerns of is Arbuckle and Kevin Wilson and everybody on the offensive side committed to championship level football? I don't know. I'm perplexed because to me, we should go 10-2, but I can see where we can go 9-3 easily.
That'd be your floor?
Oh no, the floor is 8-4.
Okay.
Yeah, the floor would be 8-4, but my high ceiling is 10-2.
Okay.
Just because there's too many questions until we get some semblance that they have made. It's great to have gotten the pieces, but we had pieces before, but for some reason we didn't utilize it, and yet we seen production that shows otherwise.
Yeah, and kind of looking back here through some of this stuff, and I listen. I understand optimism and stuff like that. What I would say to some of these guys that are in here, like Scott Walker, Oklahoma can play with anyone now. I'll agree with that. Here's what I'm going to say, and I said this last night, and like K. Chris didn't really want to hear this, but like whenever we were predicting the games for the schedule, right? And looking at that, I mean, and we can pull it up even here, but like to me, when you look at this schedule, there's definitely some landmines out there. I know that it's not near on paper, doesn't look like the schedule that Oklahoma made it through with a bad offense. So I can understand it. But I'm getting some echo. The issue that I'm having with the complete optimism is, okay, what makes you think they're better? Okay, the three tight ends. I'm going to give you the guys that'll work out as long as if they are actually using them and properly saying, okay, You have what you have to do. I think Dave said it in here a few minutes ago. You've got to keep Mateer from being injured again, because if you're putting your season on a freshman, a true freshman who played 4A football in Texas, I don't care what he was ranked as far as all that. I don't care about that. This is a big jump from playing at Salina to playing in the SEC and in 1 year. To expect for him to come in, if you get Mateer hurt and you be able to run through that, I think that that's wildly, it's, far-fetched. Is at the very least, that's a far-fetched idea. And to expect John Mateer to stay healthy running the amount that he ran last year is also, that's hope. And hope is not a plan. It's just not. Him
No, no.
having
I hear what you're saying, and see, that's when I say it has to be complementary this year, because we saw once you have put 12 games of film on the field, then in the playoffs it comes back down to fundamentals,
yeah.
and we had one element that we chose not to utilize.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the running game. And there were a lot of teams that chose not to use it for whatever reason, scheme or just decision making of their offense coordinator. The bottom line is that's why I have my hesitation this year, because it's not that we don't have the pieces. Do we have a offensive system that is working as one unit and that is all in to making sure
My thing is,
go ahead.
no, let me finish. They're all in on making sure what?
No, making sure that like I shared with you, 55-45 when it comes to run pass,
Yeah.
you have to establish the run. You can't simplify it and
If the
just
college
touch on
football
it.
playoff showed you anything, it should have showed you that.
Yeah, it should have showed you. I need what it is. I need to possess the time, for the simple fact, in order to do so, I I command the game and I dictate what transpires in a game.
I want to go to this Coach Fair here.
Go ahead.
At Coach Fair, and I think I want to say this might be, it's Paladuro. So this has got to be um this is our guy from Amarillo. All right, real quick here. Brother, I love you, but I gotta say, this the running game was definitely an abomination. The wide receivers could barely get separation. That's bull crap. Bull crap. And this to me is, this is where we're giving a pass to John Mateer. We've given a lot of passes to John Mateer and a lot of passes to Buckle, and we're killing these wide receivers. I don't think it was a wide receiver problem at all. I also don't think that it was a problem with that line. The line was young, but go back and watch the Alabama game that was won by that defense, because he was running out of clean pockets into danger and not making plays. And then you go to the LSU game, and listen, I know that everybody wants to make it about, well, he brought us back and we won the game. Hey, listen, the fact that you got a block from Jaron Kanek and it sprung Dion and he threw the ball on the line. Listen, I could make that throw. You can make that throw. Most of the people in the damn chat can make that throw. So I don't want to hear that one. And then the other one was a blown coverage. The fact is, he threw 3 interceptions and almost threw another couple of them, really. The defense, if the defense wasn't that damn good, there's no way that any of us would be sitting here saying the things about John Mateer that we're saying, because The truth is, they gave him so much room to screw up and still get away with it way too often, man. It's just way too often. And I that's all I'm saying. I have to see you guys make that move first. That running game has to show that it's better. But the expectation to me, I think it's crazy for K. Chris to say it. I think Chris Mason was, doing the TP and saying 11-1. I think it's fucking insanity. And I love those guys. And I love TP too. But guys, 11-1, 10-2, before we've seen them, I mean, listen, I get it that he's seeing a quarterback coach and working on some of these mechanic things. Listen, these are things that you've got to show that you're better, and it's not just they're going to be better because it's year two. Look, if you're still not willing to make the changes necessary, and if he is still going to look, John Mateer, part of it, my concern is this, and let me ask you what you think about this, and I'll pass it to you, because my concern is twofold. I just said earlier, okay, if he's running like he did last year, that's going to get him hurt. I think that your only chance at making the playoff is Mateer being a good quarterback this year, because you don't really have anything that you can fall back on and feel good about. I mean, you could get lucky, but truth be told, I don't know how you could trust the backup quarterback situation right now. You can't. But is John Mateer without 10, 12, 15 runs a game good enough to win? I mean, is that fit into his way of playing so he can help you win without running like that, Bishop? That's the dilemma I'm having.
Here's it is not predicated on him no more. He has to fit within to our framework in order for this to work. And I'm sorry, he has to manage. He doesn't need to run. We need him to be a better decision maker, and we need Arbuckle to be able to put a game plan together that allows us to be complementary to the type of defense we have. The only way you do that is establish the run and then RPO off that, but we got to dominate the line of scrimmage, period, point blank. Otherwise, we're playing with monopoly money, and we're not getting the true value of what we have.
And Coach, you're saying you couldn't count on the running game. They didn't try to count on the running game. The truth is, when they went to the running game late in games, it worked. Look at Tennessee. X-Rob took that game over in the second half, and that's how you nailed that game down. It wasn't because of John Mateer, because John Mateer threw a stupid interception at the end of that game that he shouldn't even have thrown the damn football. These are things like this. This is where, look, inconsistent running back play, that's not true. It was an inconsistent game plan that allowed the running backs to get going. That's the concern. And I will agree with you on this next thing that you said. Won the game with busted coverage. Look, Monty, it's real. That link is in the top if you want to call in.
Yeah.
Mateer had his issues.
I got to get going, brother.
Okay, I want you to address this real quick.
Okay.
He's the type of quarterback that must have a strong running game out of the backfield. Mateer was asked to do that much of last season. That's on the OC. I agree. But it's not on the running back play when they didn't get opportunities to run. I think you know this, as you're an offensive coach. You know this, Coach, that you have to get running backs, you got to give them carries for them to get a rhythm to run the ball well.
I agree. And on top of that, Coach, and I know that the key is the amount of carries. Because understand, if you're only going to give 16 to 20 to 21, that's only 4 to 5 rushes per quarter. That's not going to get it.
Nope.
You got to at least get 25 to 30. And that's bottom floor.
Right. That's my concern, is that I don't know that they're going to be. Look, we know how these air raid coaches are, man.
Mm-hmm.
They fall in love with that, and even, oh, it's good enough to run with the quarterback. You get your guys killed like that in the SEC. You would do the same thing in the Big Ten with some of those guys too, because they're big boys and they've got speed on these really good teams that are recruiting at the top. It's not a good way to do it. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this one more time. Mateer better be a really good player this year, or else Oklahoma is not going back. You just can't.
And I want to also caveat that is that right now, BV, you can no longer just be the defensive coordinator. You have to be the CEO, and you have to come on board with the offense as well. You got enough coaches on your defensive side that you could really start leaning on them. But I want to see you grow to where you're a CEO and that you're in the decision making on the offensive side. Because understand, Coach BV, from your Clemson days when y'all went to the Natty, you guys were complementary.
The level of detail that you put into your defensive game plan, you ought to make sure that same level of detail is going into the other side.
Correct.
And it's the same thing we were asking for from Lincoln throughout his tenure.
Correct.
We wanted to see the same thing out of him going the other way.
Yeah.
And I know it's easy to sit here and act like we all, that it was all great and everything. Here's one thing I'll say about that. It's easier to make things look better as an offensive coach because you're putting points on the board. You're going to give your team an opportunity to win. It's a lot more helpless feeling when you can't put points on the board in key times. And that, look, there was take a look at that game, the Alabama game, the end of the season. There was no way that you could feel good about them going down and getting the points that they needed when they needed them because they weren't doing it. After the 17-0 deal, the decision making was, it just wasn't. They couldn't. If you go back and you can lean on a run game there and kind of slow down the rhythm that Alabama was getting, then maybe you have a chance there. You didn't do that. And that comes from the top. Look, you've got to find a way to stop the bleeding as a staff. It's not just Arbuckle, it's BV. It's not just BV, it's Kevin Wilson. I know that he was an analyst. He was also put in a position where he had some level of authority that he didn't exert. You got to have look. All I'm saying is all this idea that everybody has put out there, and this goes on a lot of content creators in Oklahoma land, that it's it's another year here, and they made the playoff. It'll be better next year just because it will be. Look, I think that's foolish to just believe it. I think you have to demand it if you're Venables, and I think that's the reason why some of the fan base is like going totally the other way, saying they're going to go 6-6, blah 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 blah. I think there's a world that you could see that happening. It would take some injuries and some really bad things happening. But there's certainly a world that 8-4 happens, and even 7-5, because you just got in too many close games and didn't hold your end of the deal up for the offensive side. And that's what I'm trying to get across at the end.
Well
line
said.
has to be punishing this season. They have to be. Yeah. Well, guess what, Coach? What would make them better, other than what would make them better?
You need to come on up. Hey, go ahead and come on up.
They've got to. I mean, the RPO has got to stop being the main component, I think. Imagine if X-Rob gets a minimum of 25 touches a game.
Whew.
Listen, I would hope that, I don't know that X-Rob is staying healthy if he's getting that many touches, but I think that you need 30 combined by your running back tandem or whatever, at least.
Definitely.
30, 35 would be great. Outside zone run off. I
Yeah,
love that.
definitely.
I love that because that is putting Hayden Hansen in a position to get some big blocks, right? I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh, see, Monty's up in the chat.
My
Well,
God, Monty, yeah.
you got some heavy hitters here. What y'all doing? Let me do
Hey, listen, I'm gonna
talking.
drop that link again. It's pinned to the top in there, folks, but I'll do
Yeah.
it one more time.
But all right, Jason.
Brother, I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you, my brother. Keep
Talk to
doing
you
what you're
soon.
doing.
All right. Later. Bishop Frank. All right, who's next? Call in. Not looking forward to a similar offense coming to my team. Long live 12 personnel. 12 personnel. I love 12 personnel. Even 11 personnel. Listen, do it all day. I mean, and I think that you have multiple guys that can block. I even think that, some of the depth pieces for your offense. So, I mean, we saw Indiana use multiple offensive linemen, add offensive linemen to the other, to add blockers. My thing is, I want to see you commit to the run game in that way, and I'm with you on the no RPO, right? Can't do it, Ryman? Come on, man. What I'd like to see, because sometimes I think I go back to remember the Titans. He's like, it's like Novocaine. You just got to let it do its thing. You got to keep running the ball. If you commit to it, at the very least, you force the defense to honor the shit. And you can wear down the other side, man. At the end of it, if you're letting those offensive linemen, I'm with you. The O-line needs to be punishing, particularly in the second half of games. If you can get that kind of game going, then yeah, that's gonna force safeties to move up. They're gonna have to honor that stuff, and that's when you'll see explosive passing game too. You'll make it easier for John Mateer by doing that. And I think it needs to be easier for John Mateer because I don't know that he processes things well enough for you to make it to where he has to win it on his own. In fact, I don't see him being that kind of guy. It may have worked at Washington State. This is not the Mountain West Conference. It's just not. Yep. Like body shots. Those arms come down and the KO happens. That's right. Love it. Listen, I think Jonathan Hatton's liable to be a big time add on that as well. If you see the way that he runs, he's really good behind his pads. I love Torrey Blaylock, and I think that he's going to be fantastic. I love X-Rob. I think X-Rob's got to find a way to get healthy. I think that, look, shout out to Smitty. I don't want to sound like, I'm crushing Smitty, but I think that there was a little bit of outdated way that things were being done. And so I would just say that I feel like you got to kind of evolve a little bit. I'm not saying to get soft or anything like that, but maybe putting on a ton of weight isn't the right way for some of these guys in that short order. I think you kind of have to move it a little bit. That's right. And here's the thing. If you notice in the championship game, they didn't run it as well, but they kept running it. And so that allows you at the end of the game. And look at what it did for Mendoza. I'm not taking shots at Mendoza. I think I loved his poise. He's efficient as all hell. And yes, they're consistent. The fact that they were running the ball 45 and 50 times meant that he threw from a lot cleaner pockets because, it's just they had to expect the run. And so the RPO worked in that situation for him, but in his ability to throw that back shoulder throw was great. But they did the things that they knew that they were good at. It was almost boring football at times. But I'm telling you, that guy is the way that they do things and some of the way that I just saw that recent podcast that he did with Urban and old boy from Bama, the running back. And he's talking about, man, we're never going to go more than an hour and a half. They're not going to do 13 spring practices. They're not going to do 25 fall practices. They're going to spend time and be healthy and do stuff like that. And I think that these evolutions are things that matter as well. But if you're able to do that, then that means you should be able to adjust on the fly. Everything that Arbuckle said to us coming into last season was that he was going to do the things that worked for the football team. He wasn't married to a system. Then he needs to live up to that this year. My question would be this. If they don't do more of that running back running game, what's the floor? If the offense isn't considerably better, what is the floor in Norman in 2026 for you? Yeah, definitely. They're physical. No doubt. I do actually like Underwood more in the running quarterback spot than Mateer just because of size and speed. I wouldn't discount his speed either. Ooh. But Monty, you just said 13 personnel. Dang. Hey, you want to come in here and give me 5 minutes and we'll close this thing out? I'm almost out of here. Ryman says, running game will be completely dependent on letting those young bulls on the line loose. They've had enough testing by far to make them better. It won't be the first 3 games that show us what's what. No. Well, it'll be the first 5. You're going to find out pretty damn quick. You got to go game 2. You're going to go into the big house and play physical. I promise you that Michigan will be physical. We know that about Coach Whittingham. We know that about Michigan anyway. Coach Witt is going to be physical. They're going to play physical football. You're going to learn something there. You're also going to learn something a couple of weeks later when you play Georgia. And then 2 weeks after that, you got Texas. We're going to know plenty in that first 5 games. Load management at that level is essential for longevity. 12-game schedule plus postseason is grueling. Oh, I agree. Floor 7-5, ceiling's 10-2. Yeah, I think I'm pretty close to this too. I'd say 10-2 is probably the ceiling. I feel like I said this last night on the show. I 100% believe this. This is a championship defense without a doubt. You probably couldn't pick a better defense if you wanted to go for a national championship run. They do have the offensive weapons, and I think they're good enough up front on the offensive side to do the things that they want to do. What you have to do is, you have to be a disciplined play caller and let it do its thing. Run the ball and let it set up, let it build the foundation from the running game and watch how you get significantly better. I've said this a lot of times. I truly believe that I get it that Lincoln learned a lot from the Pirate, right? He did. He was a damn grad assistant whenever I was covering Tech. He learned a ton from Leach. I'm going to tell you this. What Bob Stoops did when he got to Oklahoma was what turned Lincoln into an elite play caller. Forcing him to figure out how to use those running backs and use them 55% of the time. We've got Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon run the mother effing ball. And those are pretty much the exact words that he used. Run the mother effing ball. So it can be done. You have to be willing to do it if you're Brent, but it can be done. I'm going to welcome into the show my guy, Monty Cisco. What's up, big dog?
What's up, man? What's up with it?
Man, just talking it up. Hey, listen, I got to get your ceiling and floor here, man. And I'm with you, man. I'm glad. I know we've talked about this a lot off air and stuff, but the running game definitely. I feel like the key to this season, and I don't know. I feel like you have to put this on Ben Arbuckle and in turn Brent Venables to pull it out of Ben Arbuckle to be that guy.
I mean, yeah, I feel like he needs to hold him to a high level of accountability. And John Material. I feel like I'm kind of worried about. I mean, like you mentioned something earlier that caught my attention. Material had a long leash, and we had Hawk as our backup. So, I mean, like I'm kind of worried about our backup quarterback situation if anything happens. You see what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
my
It's
floor, I say 8-4, and the ceiling is 10-2.
okay.
Anything around that, what I'm saying, but like 8-4, like I feel like this is a make or break year for Brett. We can't have this roller coaster, like first season 6-7, 10-3, 6-7, 10-3. He needs to put consecutive good years together in order to gain my trust. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
think
if
it's
he,
fair. I think that's
I mean,
fair.
he has to. But this right here, year 5, is a make or break year. If he's 8-4, man, I feel like his job is in jeopardy if he goes 8-4. That's just my
At eight
opinion.
wins,
Like,
okay. I tend to feel like the getting to the playoff last year and flipping it the way that they did, that 8 would probably keep him alive. And the reason I say that, I think if you look at this schedule, it doesn't look as it doesn't look as crazy as the one looked when they looked at it last year, right? But it
nah, I mean, this
but
schedule
make no
is
mistake, there's
easier.
some potholes, bro. There's some potholes out there. And
Yeah,
the reason I'll say that is, look, I think that Florida's probably a year away from being what you want. I got to tell you, that game scares the shit out of me for whatever reason.
yeah,
And I think
I
John
agree.
Summerall is
That's
a
the trap
really good
game,
coach.
right? Yeah, yeah. Like,
And
I agree with you
and I
on
love
the
Buster
Florida,
Faulkner as a
thing.
play caller too, by the way. I think Buster Faulkner was the guy they should have got.
Yeah, but do you think they can give our defense any problems year 1? I agree that that's a serious trap game.
Well, they got
It's a
Jaden Bob
neighborhood.
back, and then they got their best edge guy. And I don't think they were terrible on defense. I think they're still pretty stout in the trenches on both sides.
Okay. Well,
I'm
yeah.
not
I mean,
saying that
that's
I'm
a
not
game
saying it's a
everybody can
loss
learn.
necessarily. I tend to think that Oklahoma's probably going 9-3. That's where I have a hard time giving them 10-2 because I need to see them. I need to see them make that step and run the football a little better. That's what I was saying last night. I want to see that, and I predicted 9-3 last night with K. Chris and Mr. Mason. I would tell you that what I feel like is, yeah, you could win them all. You could beat every team on this schedule. There's no two ways around it with that defense being what it is. I think you may have lost some depth, but I think you may have more talent on this defense than you did even on this past one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, across the board, there's probably more. We're more talented. The defense is not our concern. We know that,
No, it's
basically.
definitely not.
We
I
just
think that, yeah, look, I think you'd have to have an awful lot of injuries, Monty, before it becomes a defensive problem, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I just think on offense, like I say, Arbuckle has no excuses, man. I feel like with the upgrade that we'd have made at tight end, I'm not worried about the offensive line. To me, the offensive line didn't really get opportunity to really like. I mean, they did pretty well in pass pro for the most part, to me. But as far
Yeah.
as the running game is about rhythm. You have to you have to let them boys fire out the ball continually throughout the game and to control the clock. Not only that, but to by the middle of the third quarter, man, you punishing them a front seven. You
Yeah.
wearing them down. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
like, man, it's just basic. When you have a defense like this, you on offense, sometimes you have to pay the percentage game. What is field position, time of possession, them certain little things and taking care of the football. Them little things right there makes a world of difference, especially in the conference like the SEC. when you have a lot of one score games and being in that scenario like that. Because the games that we lost this year, just look at the dynamics of the game. Look at the stats. Like Lacey and Wisener both, like I said, I've read it this all year. They had more carries than all our running backs combined in them two losses. So like when you look at the dynamics of how we lost our games last year, and we lost to Texas. Yeah, it was a three-score game, but it was a one-score
Yeah, but
game going into the fourth quarter.
listen, you were winning at the half even with the interception. I mean, and
Right,
you were winning
you
in the
were
end
up.
of the third quarter, playing as poorly as they did on offense. The defense had Arch tripping. He was not playing well,
Yeah,
and
right.
I'll forever say that punt return had about 3 blocks in the back. I mean, whatever. But
Man,
the truth is you allowed Texas to stay in that, and you got beat. That's what happens. Football, you cannot in a good football team, and I can tell you that as they weren't as good as everybody made them out to be at the start of the year, but they weren't as bad as everybody made them be at the end of the year either.
no, they wasn't. You
Texas is a
know what
good
I'm saying?
football team. Their defense was damn good. Their offense got really good at the end of the year, but at the end of the day, you should have beat their ass.
Yeah,
And had you just
I
played
mean,
Michael Hawkins, you probably do.
yeah, but like, man, you know what I told you about this scenario, man. If Hawk was to go in that game and play well,
I
how
don't
was
care.
Oklahoma going to take him out the field?
Well, why would that matter
I
to
mean,
you, though? Is my question.
no, it wouldn't matter to me or you, but from a
Right.
dynamic standpoint, I mean, like
Listen, if
it
he's
ain't
hurt,
it kind of,
if he's hurt though, but here's the thing, Mateer, to me, you don't really lose anything if you're Mateer because you got injured. You were playing well before the injury, or at least partially. He was pretty good before the injury. He wasn't as good as people thought acted like he was, but he was good. I'll give him that. If
yeah,
you and you know what, if you give him an opportunity, first of all, I'll put it this way: Ben Arbuckle was going to play him one way or the other at some point. If you,
yeah,
I just said, and my whole point has been on, and I'm not going to stay on the Hawkins part. What I would say is, if you allow him to get healthy in those 3 games, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and the same record comes out of those 3 games that you had anyway,
right,
1 and 2,
right,
but he comes back healthy, maybe it's a different story, right?
true, true,
It's a different
but
story. And then even if let's say they win all of them, then and they decide to stick with Mike, he still had that season to fall back on that he had the year before. Plus, he was playing pretty well before the injury and won the game against Auburn. He's not going to have a hard time finding another place to go play and be a
oh yeah, I
starter
mean, yeah,
this year anyway.
that's true.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
true. I mean, yeah, but like
the money situation, I
the
get it, but
politics of
I'm not in love with allowing boosters to decide who the fucking starting players are.
yeah, I hate that dynamic. But like, man, you okay? Just like 2021, you remember the scenario with Spencer and Caleb. You know what I'm saying? And then like, man, I mean, like it was, preseason. Spencer Rattler was the Heisman favorite and
Yeah, yeah,
everything. You know what I'm
sure.
saying? And then when Caleb came in and did what he did against Texas, man, it shook up the whole dynamic. I mean, I don't think it shook up the team, but like I think Riley had a
They
lot
were a
more
damn
sense
sight
that
better with Caleb, even with
yeah,
even
you know
with
what I'm saying.
Lincoln
But
trying to throw all that shit,
yeah, you see how Lincoln you see how Lincoln
bro.
tried to defend like that whole week after Caleb. You know, what I'm saying he refused to say that Caleb was starting until game time. You remember
Monty,
that?
Monty,
Yeah.
there is nothing that would make me believe that Lincoln was not trying to shit on that season from
Oh yeah, yeah.
well before
That's a
Red
whole other
River.
conversation.
That dude was throwing the season every week. The players just didn't know it. That was the
Yeah,
worst Lincoln Riley ever looked.
right.
As far as I
I agree.
mean, oh, bro, Tulane won
Yeah, I
fucking
mean,
2 games that year and almost had another one in Norman.
right. Right. I agree. I mean, there's a lot of different elements that goes
Caleb
into that.
Williams was a
But
bad dude to get to withstand that shit.
I mean, you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You know, cause like there's like that's why I was saying like Oklahoma started 9-0 that year, and that week that he
yeah, I think it was
didn't
9-0, and then they lost 2 down the stretch.
Bayless. Yeah. Lost
Yeah.
two out of three down the stretch. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it from that dynamic. What if Hawk would have came in, man, and just blew and just played the game of his life against Texas? Man, it's gonna create controversy. That just
Here's the
like I
deal,
mean, that's
though.
just
Here's the deal with that, though. Would you have wanted Spencer to come back in? I know you didn't.
oh no, oh no, no.
Okay,
If
if
Hawk
if he
if
comes
Hawk would
in
have
and
moved up,
he's better, if he comes in and he's better and he gets better from week to week, and let's just put it this way, and I know the people are like, well, he sucked in this game and blah blah blah, whatever. The knock the rust off game that he led 5 straight scoring drives. Fine, talk your shit if you want to about that one. What I would say is he would have gotten better from week to week, and chances are, yeah, they would have. My deal is if we as a fan base want a national championship, what you have to do is allow things happen the way they happen, man. If a guy gets hurt,
yeah,
it's got to be next man up. And if you lose your job because of it, you lose your job because of it.
yeah. I mean, it's more of a business now. I agree. You know, you got to throw some of the politics out the window. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, like, it didn't work for Jay Knott. It didn't get him on the field. The
Yeah.
money that he was making. You see what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
don't know. You know what I mean? You know, so
It's it's
I
the
don't
thing
know.
is it's scary to think my concern would be that I mean not that I expected them to tell the or BV to tell the truth about whether he was thinking about pulling Mateer out of the LSU game. But if he truthfully wasn't like he said, that would be my concern is are you willing to have enough stones to make that choice? We saw you do it in the Tennessee game a year ago. There's no way that you can allow this to happen. This is your football team, man. You should, if you're going to go out, you got to go out swinging. And I didn't feel like they were
Yeah,
willing to do that. Now, thank God they blew that coverage. And thank God,
yeah,
Cannon got that block on that receiver screen for Dion.
right. Yeah,
But damn, bro,
yeah. Them two plays right there were the difference in the ball game. I mean, like that's what one,
the
17,
defense,
13. So yeah.
dude, Peyton Bowen climbing that ladder to save that, after Mateer threw
Oh
the
yeah.
first one. Shit, bro, that was one of the best plays I've seen in a long time from a DB. Whoa.
Yeah, but man, we'll see, man. Like, hopefully, we get the material that we had the first 5 games of last year. You know, with a running game. You know, I feel like man, that just open up, that make things a lot easier. Uh, like I said, with the 3 tight ends that we didn't add it, like man, we should be
I
able to
love
run
that. I
way
love
more
that
zero
move.
personnel.
I love that move, brother. I'm
That
with you
means
on that.
like that should open up the playbook. So to where you should be able to
Hayden
run the
Hanson's a
ball.
dog, bro. Hayden Hanson's a dog. I like that
Exactly.
Rocky Beers kid too.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
And
say this.
I
Let me
like
ask you
Tyler
this.
Russell.
Here's my I'm gonna this is the last question I'm gonna even pose that is a possible negative. My concern with John Mateer is if he's not running the ball, getting 10 rushes a game, is he as effective as he is otherwise?
Oh,
Because
so you thinking that?
I think one of the big questions that people have is he going to be a good player if he's playing from the pocket and playing, handing the ball off and just throwing and not running maybe 2, 3, 4 times a game. I don't think that I think that you have to keep him from doing it. Otherwise you get him hurt and then you're really screwed. But is he going to be
Right.
effective without that part of the game? I think that that's a problem and a dilemma for these guys.
Man, I mean that's a good question because like, how does he get his rhythm? Is it from him running the ball?
Well,
I mean that's a valid question that you're asking because like, can he gain rhythm from the pocket without having to run the ball? And I don't
right.
know. I mean, we have to see
We
that.
haven't seen him do it. He's a happy feeted dude. So the question that it's a legit question for me is that is he going to be good without running the ball 10 times a game? Because I don't think that you can afford to do it. If you do it, you're risking his health because he didn't even make it out of the first damn SEC contest. And I
Right.
get it. He was making a throw whenever he broke his thumb. I understand that, folks. But I think that some of the hits that he could have taken in the weeks leading up to that, it gets you in that position where they're going to come after you that way.
Right. Right. If you show certain tendencies of the defense saying third, like I mean, like I don't know. That's a good question, man. He's going to have to show us. He's going to have to show it. Like it's up to Arbuckle with his play calling and see what he do with these tight ends. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that we didn't have last year. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like the tight end room is going to surprise a lot of people. I feel like we're going to have a complete 180 look when it comes to that position. I just feel like we're going to look 100% better overall.
Yeah.
This is my
Coach
opinion
Bear
from
saying that
from
he
a
feels
blogger
like
standpoint.
he's going to need 5 to 10 runs a game. I hope it's damn closer to 5, my man.
Yeah, I
I think
mean,
it's very risky proposition.
I, I feel like if he getting 5 to 8 carries with you know Robinson getting 15, 16 carries and
Torrey getting about
Blaylock
the
getting
same.
11, 12 touches, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean that right there will keep the defense out balanced enough. You know what I'm saying to where because we don't need him leading the team in carries again. That's something that we cannot. You know what I'm saying? Like or being leading the leading carry in any game. Like that's a recipe for us for losing. That's I just in this conference. It probably could work in the Big 12, but not in this conference. It just can't. Man, you playing too many games where it's gonna be a one-score football game. Bottom line, it's gonna be a one-score football game, and man, you gotta be able to control the clock. And we're built on defense to play in one-score football game. That's
Well,
why
you
we
know
won
that
10 games last year with an impotent
absolutely.
offense, in my
Well,
opinion.
no
So
faking had this stat though, Monty, that talking about that they were in how many 5-1 score games this past season,
yeah,
and Phil Steele, he brought it up that Phil Steele had brought it up before. They had lost 5-1 score games the year before that. That
sure.
it usually
Hmm.
flips, but it'll flip both ways. So if you get in a bunch of one
Yeah,
score games this year and you're not playing better offense, you're not you're not leaning on that run game, you're going to get beat in those games. That's why I feel like 8-4, 7-5 is a possibility just on the face of it, because you're going to have to be able to produce with this
you're right.
offense.
I
Period.
agree. I agree. Yeah, but
It's
that's a good. Glad to
here's the
see you,
deal.
man.
I hope with everything in me that they figure this out.
Yeah, me too.
It,
Me too.
but I think you
And
just
they
got to have a
should, man. You got the
disciplined
pieces
approach to
now,
it. If you're Arbuckle, you've got to pick yourself up, and you got to. And if you're Brent, you need to hold his feet to the fire there.
man. He's somewhat like with the pieces that we didn't added. I mean, non-verbally, I think he's holding his fire to the feet. You know, so like you
Sure,
can open up your playbook now. You have the personnel. I feel like he has the personnel across the board to make this work. Like, and this offense doesn't have to be, like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be the elite offense
fair
that
enough.
we had. You know what I'm saying?
Well, TP was saying earlier, that you heard what Nagy said, that
Yeah,
he
we
wanted to see those young receivers,
yeah,
and I think he wants to see Jonathan Hatton too. They didn't go and spend the
right,
money to get Jonathan Hatton to not get him in there. And I think that when
right,
it comes to receivers and running backs, I think one of the Chris Mason line that I've liked the most in the last year that we've been talking to him is that he said if your dog's gonna bite, it'll bite as a puppy. I think that applies when it comes to these backs.
right. Yeah, you're right,
So
man. You're right. You know what I'm saying?
love to
You're
see
right.
him
As
do it.
long as they can pass block, they'll play. They'll play. You know what I'm saying? But they gotta know how to pass block. You know how DeMarco is with that. So but
Yeah,
man, I'm gonna get off here, man, and
yeah. I gotta get, man,
shoot,
but I
I'm chopping
appreciate
up
you.
with you.
No doubt, man. We got to get
Okay.
together and smoke some meats, brother. Got to happen.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. We gotta do that, man. Have some beers and smoke some meat. Gotta do that.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Sounds
I'll let
good.
you.
All
All
right,
right,
man. Thanks for coming in.
bet. No
Appreciate you.
problem. Bet.
All right, Monty Cisco, our guy. Make sure you guys are checking him out on Twitter. He's a fun watch. He's a fun read, a fun follow on Twitter, man. You want to talk about a guy that gets after them Texas fans. It's fun. That's some fun shit right there. I was a player who had an attitude, work ethic problem. I don't know that that's necessarily. I don't know that this is all a fact, Coach. I just got to tell you, brother. This right here. Go watch that KJ Daniels video. He said weed. He said meat, not weed. I did think he said that too, though, Dave. At first, I thought that was what he said myself. He was saying meat, though. They used to him and his family used to have a barbecue restaurant. He was definitely saying meat. That's some funny shit, though. Look, go back and watch that KJ Daniels video if you haven't seen it on Twitter. It shows a lot of stuff that Michael Hawkins was doing, and it shows you an awful lot of stuff that you were, and a lot of that shit was Jay not catching the ball out of the backfield, Jay not running the ball. I mean, there's some different stuff. I don't know that it was all about that. I just don't. I'm not sure that it was. It's holding up good. It's holding up good, man. Shit, it's definitely been tested, man. This weather was. In fact, I got to go get it. That's why I got to get out of here. I got to go pull it out of this. I'm still in New Mexico, and so I either got to buy another day or move it. So I may go ahead and get another day, but I got to go and get that done. But no, it's definitely been tested with that weather, though. In fact, when I was out there recording with Marcus the other night for the Gauntlet, I mean, it got kind of late, but I had the water dripping, and then somehow I guess I turned it off when I went to the restroom. And within like 30 minutes, we were done, and it had frozen up that quick. And it was like, I mean, it didn't feel like it was that bad. So I had to take hot water and thaw it, and I just unhooked it because I came back to my mom's house and stayed here. So it's been going good, though. I need to get a new mattress for it, and I need to finish up a couple of things in there, but getting close. It may be a little small, but it's working. It's working, man. I'm excited about what's coming with it. So we're going to be doing some cool stuff. Bevo. Oh, whatever, bro. Let's see. Texas can't win it all with elite rosters on both sides of the ball. That's tragic too, isn't it? For all the trash they talk to, especially. Guys, y'all make sure if you didn't check out that, look, man, we're putting out some pretty cool content that's SEC content. So if you want to know more about some of these other teams, man, we're doing deep dives on all the teams in the SEC, kind of doing profiles on them all. We just did a really good one on, really this show today was kind of, I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what we were saying in the Ole Miss video, because to them, I think at Ole Miss right now, especially after losing Lane Kiffin, it's definitely college football playoff or bust for them as well, especially when you probably have Trinidad Chambliss coming back, along with, Kejuan Lacey, and then they added another pretty damn good-looking running back out of Southern Utah. I would tell you that I feel it's kind of the same with Oklahoma. If you make it to the playoff one year and you've got this talented of a defense, somebody said in there, we're not going to have this kind of experience at quarterback for a couple of years. I think with the portal, you can add experience again, but it's definitely going to be it's always going to be a roll of the dice whenever you're going and getting somebody that you don't know. So, and that's why I said that I feel like this past season was a big missed opportunity to not be better on the offensive side. And it's why I'm as critical as I am about them coming into this season, and why I'm saying You got to prove it to me for me to believe in it. I think that the talent's there. I'm just not sure the conviction to get to do the things that you must do that winning requires, like BV says, the conviction to do those things that I haven't seen. And I certainly haven't seen the execution on the offensive side that is the standard at Oklahoma that they're not living up to. It's hard to swallow that. Look, I would say it. As far as Ole Miss goes, I would tell you that I think it might be a little much to ask them to make. I mean, they've got a really tough schedule in comparison to Oklahoma's. It's tough. For expecting them to get back to 10-2 might be a little aggressive on the part of the fan base. First year head coach fully. I don't know that I see it. If Chambliss comes back, they can. But they still got it. They got to play a lot of really good programs. They're playing pretty much. They got LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee. They've got Florida on the road as well. They've got a tough schedule. They could do it too, just like OU can, but I think it's going to matter, can they kind of turn it around on the defensive side, be better tackling and stuff like that? That's not a problem Oklahoma's going to have. The Oklahoma defense is going to put you in a position where you can win any game. That includes Athens. That includes the Big House. That includes every game that you play. That includes, going to Florida, beating Texas. You should be able to beat Texas. Now, I'm not picking them to beat Texas till they do. But, it's time for the offense to step it up. Make sure you go over there, check out the SEC Gauntlet Sundays and Thursdays. We'll be live this Sunday. Actually, we're going to move this Sundays, though, because of the Super Bowl. I know everybody's going to be watching the Super Bowl. We're probably better off to do that on Monday, so we are going to move it to Monday. We will have David Johnson from Ole Miss 365 along with Marcus Dent, myself, Shoddy, if we can get him, and we may have a one or two more come on the show. We're going to try to do a full-on panel. We'll talk about hot seat coaches in the SEC and some other subjects as well. But make sure you guys get over there and check out what we've been doing. We've got a couple of profiles, the one on Tennessee, the one on Ole Miss, along with just kind of an SEC wrap-up. And we're going to do more. We have our top 10 quarterbacks. That's getting some traction there. I like that. Go in there and check those out. See what you think about them as well. Get signed up for Ole Miss 365 and obviously the Gridiron Insight with Marcus Dent. They've got some really cool shows. The reason I say go to Ole Miss 365, no matter what you're a fan of, they've got some pretty damn good shows over there. Got great content. So you should check them out on YouTube, on their website. It's a cool venture. But anyway, appreciate everybody coming in, guys. And what did we say, Mars? What's up, Mars? All right. Appreciate everybody coming in, guys. We'll see you all on the next one.